30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The word 13 and seconds is using the same paragraph. Maggie gets very angry.
Kicker's missing 46-yarders. It happens. Gets a
is that Scott Norwood? Oh. Can I ask a Bills question? Sure. Would you rather lose that way than Norwood miss field goal or lose 52-17 to the Cowboys? Which is the preferable way to go down?
Thank you.
I'm genuinely curious.
I'm sure you are genuinely curious.
Because I remember when my Eagles played.
You've been friends for a decade, and you waited till right now to ask me that question.
Well, I just thinking back to the Eagles Patriots, I didn't get to experience that, so I want to know what it's like as a fan.
I mean, Eagles Patriots the first time. What's it like when your quarterback pukes in the huddle? Yeah. What is that like? Perloff got me better.
No, I know, but it still stopped me in my tracks. Trying to come back. I'm about to cry.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
What up? Welcome to the show. It's Maggie and Perloff. We're hanging out with you on this Tuesday, and if you are not tuned in right now, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, you're missing the cool swag that we got last night at the premiere of the movie Air.
Yeah, we look like Phil Knight, the Nike executive, wore these big, crazy sunglasses. I feel aerodynamic wearing these things.
I do too.
Like I'm ready to run a track meet or something. I can't see a darn thing.
I feel like we were sent from the future, not to warn society about anything, just to look like we're ready to breakdance.
But our young producer, Pat Boyle, says they look cool. Like, you want these, right?
Yeah, I think I need a pair.
All right, well, you can have mine when this is all said and done, because there's no chance I'm wearing these for 1 second outside of this building. But welcome to the Maggie and Perloff Show. We got a lot to get to. We'll tell you about our evening hobnobbing with the likes of Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, Viola Davis.
Sort of hobnobbing.
Listen, we walked into the premiere just real quick. Walked in, and the first two people we see were Adam Schefter and Keegan-Michael Key.
Yeah.
We knew this was going to be a pretty sweet party. So
we actually saw news breaking on his phone.
Yeah, multiple phones from Schefter. Got a chance to talk with him, which is great. Unfortunately, he did not have a great update on Lamar Jackson, because Perloff, nobody has an update on Lamar Jackson. Now, this is the absolute latest, but you got to take it for what it is. According to Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, and some others around the league, Lamar Jackson is sort of being represented by not an accredited agent that has to go through the NFLPA and get certified, but somebody who works as a financial advisor who's helped some NFL players in the past. So he can't negotiate a deal, but this person is calling around to teams and reportedly telling them that Lamar Jackson is, quote, ready to move on from the Ravens.
Great.
So that's what we have. It's impossible, Perloff, for me not to think that Lamar Jackson may have cost himself a ton of money here. I don't see how he played this well. Unless we get a team that comes out of the blue and it says, here, I'm ready to drop 200, 230, whatever $million in your lap. How did Lamar not look at the apparently 3 years, $133 million that the Ravens offered last year and say, I want that deal? He'd be 2 years closer now to getting to free agency, and I don't think he's signing a long-term deal. I think he's going to end up signing a short-term deal with the Ravens, and that's going to be it.
Yeah, no, looking back on it, when you put it that way, he definitely should have signed. The problem is, how much are we in a week or 2 weeks into free agency? There's nowhere else. There's not a lot of places for him to go. So his market has shrunk. The Ravens seem to be holding all the leverage now because they have him on this $32 million tag. There's no way he's making that big money right now. I think the biggest factor is that teams do not want to negotiate for the Ravens.
I get that.
I don't think that,
especially an AFC team.
I don't think the Indianapolis Colts want to go out there and put a $200 million, say $220 deal on the table and get rejected for a player that I'm not sure people are 100% convinced of. Here's an underlying issue with this. Do we think Lamar Jackson is a top 5 quarterback? I don't think the NFL views him as that because of the injury risk and the lack of passing production that he's had. There's 2 question marks there.
Okay, but the lack of passing production, I think, can be explained by the fact that the Ravens were lacking in receiver talent, did not put as many resources as they possibly could towards receiver talent, and the offense they were running with offense coordinator Greg Roman was a primarily running offense. Like,
that can be explained, but are you willing to risk $100 million that that's the case?
For me, it's more about his knee. Like, it's knee, ankle, whatever, the lower body stuff that cost him to miss 10 games. I swear, if he did not miss those 10 games, 11 games, he missed the playoffs too, 11 games, I think he would have had multiple suitors. I think that's what's scaring people away more than anything. And the fact that he's asking for a mass guarantee, which means the owners have to put a lot of that away in an escrow account that can't be touched.
Totally.
And how many owners are like that liquid? I don't know how many have $150 to $160 million to put in a bank account, essentially, that can't be touched.
Well, I don't think you can separate the health issue from the lack of passing because he's 26. He needs to change his game or he's not going to last. So some quarterbacks have done that. I know Donovan McNabb did in Philly. I think Steve Young successfully did it in San Francisco, turned from a running quarterback to a pocket quarterback. I think that at a certain point, teams are looking at, well, this is a 4-year deal. How many games are we going to get? Because Lamar is going to run. He has an enormous amount of running carries behind him.
Yeah.
His legs have taken a lot of hits. So it all is part of the same thing. But, okay, this hypothetical question out there. If your guy, Josh Allen, was on this market, would it all look different?
Well, if Josh Allen missed 5 games in the last 2 years, it might actually look different. Now, the thing about Allen, though, is Allen really has proven. Listen, I think Lamar's got a great arm, but Allen has proven that he really can throw outside the numbers. Like, has proven that he's got every tool in the toolbox, you know?
Well, great. Yeah, it's not even about having a great arm. Arm strength is one thing.
No,
it's about being accurate.
Accurate arm, can throw outside the numbers.
Lamar's not really proven that.
Lamar doesn't really throw outside the numbers. It's more of like a middle of the field kind of game, which, again, I think that can be totally chalked up to the offensive coordinator. Like, if Lamar Jackson was in Buffalo with Brian Daboll before and Ken Dorsey now, does he look like a different quarterback? He might.
I think he'd still run 17 times a game. I mean, he's knocking out 8 or 9 pass plays that the coordinator has called by scrambling. So there's just no – how is his pass game going to be – how is he going to throw for more than 3,200 yards if he takes off so much?
Yeah,
and do you think he
discipline or better receivers. If he had Stephon Diggs, maybe it's different.
That seems like a leap to me. I don't. I think it's an unknown. Yeah, the thing is too. Don't you want Lamar Jackson to run? That's the other part. He's unbelievable.
Well, just like I want Josh Allen to run. I mean, I do want them both to run. Thing. I want Daniel Jones to run. You know, I want
Daniel Jones.
Kyler Murray to run.
Daniel Jones to not run once in a.
He runs all the time too.
I think Daniel Jones is a more run-only quarterback. That's all he could do right well. So, and by the way, the Eagles caught up to him pretty good in the playoff round. Yeah. Nobody catches up to Lamar. But I think that's a really valid question. Can you keep that style for a long time? Listen, Cam Newton is throwing today at Auburn's Pro Day.
Yeah. And does that seem sad to anyone else? I don't know why I think that's sad. It shouldn't be, though. It's a guy who's still trying to play, trying to prove that he can play. That should not be looked at as being sad, but I can't help but feel bad for the guy.
Well, of course. He was a former MVP. He shouldn't have to work out at Auburn's Pro Day. But his style of play just didn't last. He took way too many shots. And also, I think Cam, even more than Lamar Jackson, was such a big target out there. I don't think Josh Allen's going to last if he keeps running this way.
I think it's a miracle he hasn't gotten hurt thus far, like significantly. I'm going to knock on wood right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got to stay in the pocket more, just get rid of the ball. Tom Brady played forever by just throwing a million screen passes.
Yeah, but that's also because Tom Brady couldn't do what... He can't scramble like Josh Allen.
Absolutely.
Not even close to Lamar Jackson.
Right. So in a way, that lack of athletic ability helped him very much because he played more of a point guard and just distributed the ball. Can Lamar Jackson do that?
Well, you're also then taking away something that makes him really special.
I know. It's a catch-22.
See, here's the thing. If Lamar would be willing, like, if you're the Colts, for example, or, we've seen a lot of that sort of linked the last couple days. You're looking for a new face of the franchise. You haven't had stability at the quarterback position. All of those things. would you do a 3-year deal for, whatever, 180, 200, whatever it's going to take?
Get him from 26 to 29? Yeah.
And it looks like maybe Lamar's willing to do, would he be willing to do something like that now? Because, he's out there now and nothing is happening.
Well, right. But we know if it's a 3-year deal, unless the numbers are so insane that Baltimore is just going to match that, and we're done.
Yeah.
And then where does Indianapolis left?
In the draft. They got the 4th pick in the draft.
And even, you could make an argument that Indianapolis should just go quarterback there, too.
Well, that's
get 5 years of cost certainty.
Think about this. And I know the owners can always be the wild cards here. But if you're a general manager and your owner is saying, okay, what should we do? Should we go after Lamar Jackson? And you're the Colts and you have the 4th overall pick. You're like, well, you can either spend $200 million or you could not do that. I think a lot of owners are like, all right, we won't. We'll start over the young guy.
But, this year's draft, you are taking huge projects.
That's true.
Will Levis and Richardson have had very little passing success. And C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young I think Bryce Young has big question marks because of his size. So the owner is going to be like.
And Stroud has question marks because, unfortunately for him, this is not fair. But Ohio State quarterbacks haven't been awesome in the play.
Also, C.J. Stroud was not consistent last year by any means.
Yeah.
He was great at the end. So I think if you're Irsay and you put on the tape of Will Levis, who Mel Kiper just gave in his mock draft today, gave to the Colts at number 4. And then you put on the tape of Lamar Jackson. I think you could make a compelling case to the owner, hey, it's worth the short-term money. Right?
Oh, my gosh. Well, Lamar would blow Levis out of the water.
Yeah, he'd blow all those guys out of the water. Except maybe Bryce Young's highlights are amazing. But I think you could make a really good argument for Lamar. The problem is there's just, Indianapolis could have this great offer. Not only will the Ravens match it, then Lamar will somehow. I don't think he's handled this perfectly well. He'll make a mess of the whole situation. The Colts will end up feeling or looking pretty bad.
Well, here's the thing: the ready to move on. Yeah. That was the new detail that came out today. So the question becomes, does Lamar and the Ravens, do they have enough of a relationship where if Lamar doesn't want to play for them anymore, do they say, listen, someone's going to make me an offer, say it's just big round number, say it's $200 million for 4 years or whatever it's going to be. And does he say to the Ravens, please don't match it?
Well, I don't know. I think he said, I'm ready to move on. I think that was a negotiation as well.
Could be.
If he's leaking that information out there, I do not think it's done with Baltimore and Lamar Jackson. I think that report, to me, means nothing. Of course, Lamar Jackson's trying to get a contract. Of course he's going to say, I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, but that contract could end up being with the Ravens.
Yeah, I know.
That's the problem with this whole thing. So
he's getting leverage. He's telling Baltimore, don't screw around here. Give me the money or I'm going to walk. It's basic negotiations. If you were in a negotiation with your boss, you got to let your boss think, hey, I have other options. You got to let your boss think.
I know, but unfortunately,
you got to pay me or I'm walking out the door.
Unfortunately for Lamar, this is open. It's I don't know if they have to make the offer sheets public, but I would imagine it's going to become public.
Right.
So you can't even say, hey, I've got an offer from company X. I'm not going to tell you what it is. We're all going to find out.
Yeah, but you're already hearing about this weird level of information, Lamar's people and things. First of all, teams that are negotiating, they could talk to Lamar and sort of make an offer to his people and then not put it out there and not make an offer sheet. There's all sorts of weird stuff. It is the most confusing. Aaron Rodgers is simple compared to Lamar Jackson. It's been, 2 years now that we've had this strange negotiation where he puts out these cryptic tweets. I don't know. I'm a little annoyed with the situation. I'm a little annoyed with Lamar.
Well, I think he's costing himself money.
Why doesn't he come out and say what he wants to?
I don't think he can. I think he's, like you said, you got to keep it sort of nebulous. You got to keep it in the ether. I might go back to Baltimore, but I might want to move on and go somewhere else. He shouldn't say anything right now.
Yeah, but he does say things, and they're bizarre. They're weird and confusing.
Well, when he said 133 over 3 years, who says I don't need an agent? It's well, I don't know.
Yeah,
you didn't sign the deal, so I think you probably still need someone.
Right, exactly. This is not going a good place. If he does go back to Baltimore, there's obviously going to be hurt feelings. But if he goes to this other team for $200 million, I'm very curious what Baltimore does. Indianapolis has got the 4 pick, so that's valuable. But look at it from Baltimore's point of view. If Lamar's ready to move on and they seem ready to move on, who's their quarterback next year?
Well, you've probably figured that out with the bridge guy. But if I'm the Colts, I'm not doing this before the draft.
Yeah.
There's no chance I'm giving Baltimore the 4th overall pick. You get 2 first-round picks if they were going to sign Lamar. I'm waiting till after the draft. There's no urgency.
Well, unless another team
Who? What? There's no other team. We don't even think the Colts are in it. This is all speculation.
Right. If it's not, the Colts and the Titans are almost the exact same position.
Honestly, I think they should both just do the tank for Caleb Williams or for Drake May.
Well, that's the problem.
The Colts have done this before. They've done an organizational tank. They can execute this.
I don't remember.
Should have kept Jeff Saturday.
Peyton Manning lost a neck vertebrae. I don't think that was a planned tank.
No, but it ended up coinciding very nicely with Andrew Luck coming out of college.
Right, but an organizational tank, I don't think that was planned by them. It worked out great. It was much like David Robinson, Tim Duncan.
You've got a roadmap.
Yeah, they didn't plan it. Well, right. But let's not give them too much credit here. They got a little lucky that Peyton got hurt and they let him walk out the door. Remember David Robinson got injured and they got Tim Duncan? The Spurs, nobody knew about tanking then. They were not tanking. They just stunk.
Speaking of, former Spur was at the premiere last night. Got a chance to chit-chat with him.
Who's that?
I told you who was there. Meanwhile, I'm sorry for streaming youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio if you want to watch us. So I did say that Pat could have these super cool glasses that they gave us at the Air premiere last night. Affleck, Damon, Viola Davis, Maggie Perloff, no big deal. Nick in Texas says, darn it, I was going to ask you for those glasses, Maggie.
Well, you could give
Pat
yours.
Boyle, Nick in Texas. This is really tough. You guys both do a lot for the show.
Yeah, you see, the problem is Nick in Texas is thousands of miles away, where I'm just a simple 10-foot walk.
I know, but the other problem with that is we are going to the Final Four, which is in Houston, which is where Nick lives.
Yeah.
So I could deliver these on the airplane. But this is a tough, because I did offer them to Pat first.
How are you going to make a promise like that and then take it back minutes later? We're 16 minutes into the show, and you've already gone back on the promise?
I know. I do not want to welch on this one for you. But honestly, you do a lot for the show, Pat. You're pushing very important buttons back there. You're contributing to the show in a meaningful way. But Nick runs our pool, our NCAA pool.
He's running the pool?
He runs the pool.
Oh, man.
But then again, Nick also did get a couple Maggie and Perloff T-shirts, so it's not like he has no swag.
Yeah, these are the most uncomfortable glasses I've ever worn in my life. Pat, you could take mine. Nick, you could have mine. These are
Oh, really? Because they're kind of growing on me now. Now I kind of like them.
They're so weird. They're not shaped like normal glasses.
No, they're not. Actually, Lamar Jackson, speak of it, has glasses like this.
Yeah, he looked amazing in them.
You look like you're ready to go down a black diamond.
Double black diamond. We're swishing down the slopes. Yep.
Shredding Powell.
Mm-hmm. Fresh Cali Powell, bro. All about
Perloff
it.
hates him. He hates them.
I know.
Wait, what's that?
You hate the glasses.
I can't stand them. Lamar looks so much cooler than we do in these glasses.
Listen, Lamar's going to look cooler going grocery shopping than we are on our best day.
Yeah, I mean, Lamar looks like he's on the sideline. It looks like a model shoot with these glasses on. Why does it not look like that for us?
Listen, I've already done the most embarrassing thing I can do today. These glasses are nothing. I did karaoke in the office. Yeah. I didn't think I would do that today.
Wow.
I know. It's International Women's Month, which somehow coincided with karaoke being available in the office auditorium. Yeah. I don't know what that has to do with women. I think men do it to do karaoke too.
We also got a chocolate fountain.
There was a chocolate fountain. That was
I didn't understand that one either.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know what these things have to do with women, but I'll take it.
I was impressed, Maggie, because you were dead sober and you went up there.
I am sober today.
Yeah.
I like to be sober today. For the show. Yeah.
To me, though, karaoke is a drinking activity. To go sober karaoke is really daunting.
I know. And then because of all the music in the Air movie last night is basically homage to the 80s. It's like a nostalgia bomb of 80s stuff. Cyndi Lauper's Time After Time is featured in the movie, so that's what I did.
What did you... Oh, that's what you did for karaoke?
Yeah.
Time after time.
Where were you 20 minutes ago? I could have used you on backup vocals.
Running the board for Jim Rome simulcast.
Somebody's got to do it. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, if you got to call it now. Lamar Jackson, does he sign a long-term deal or is this a short-term deal? Has he cost himself money? If you're a fan of a team that needs a quarterback, do you want him?
He's playing for $32 million this year. That
crazy. Would be a travesty.
It's happening.
How can he make less than Daniel Jones?
I'd also like to make a side bet.
Sure.
I think he ends up in Baltimore.
Can I have the field?
Yeah, you could definitely have the field. I do not think another team makes a successful offer.
It doesn't look like it now.
I mean, they might make an offer, but I think Baltimore
will match it. I mean, I'll take the field just for the hell of it if you're going to give me every other team. but I don't have a lot of confidence in that bet.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. And if he does go to Baltimore, I don't think it's over that he signs a deal with Baltimore. That's different than $32 million. Maybe do what you mentioned, do 2 years, 100.
Something like that. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Big day today. Tonight, World Baseball Classic, USA versus Japan in the final.
You're not invited, Maggie. You're not invited to watch.
My invitation got lost in the mail right when I complained about the tournament when Edwin Diaz went down.
Yeah, we are all going to enjoy it. It's been one of the most joyous, passionate sporting events in a decade. Not Maggie, nope.
No, I think I missed the boat on that. Coming up next, what did Nick Saban have to say? Was he taking shots at the Alabama basketball program? We'll get to that in just a moment. Don't move. It is Maggie and Perloff. We'll have the update for you on the Matt Damon story. What happened when Maggie and Perloff met Matt Damon and Ben Affleck? We'll get to that in just a moment. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio, Sirius XM channel 158. We're on the free Odyssey app, and we are streaming live youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We're back on Maggie and Perloff. So I learned an important lesson in the movie Air, and I'm not going to give anything away. But
Michael Jordan signs with Nike.
Michael Jordan signed with Nike.
Sorry,
Now-
spoiler.
We'll get into the movie a little bit later, but one of the central theses was that Michael Jordan's mom played hardball and created this great deal for Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
A transformative deal. It kind of changed the whole business. So Lamar Jackson's mom, through the years, reportedly has been acting as an agent in a way, or at least has been heavily involved in his business. Now, for me, my mom is the last person who I would want negotiating a deal for me.
Still too close to the project?
No, she just overestimates my abilities
Yeah, right.
and talents.
Yeah.
And yours too, by the way.
Definitely.
Tom and Carol are gigantic Maggie Gray fans.
Yeah.
If they went into our negotiations with our boss about a new contract, the boss would just laugh at them because they would think we're worth millions and millions of dollars. So
Aren't we, though?
there is a theory out there that Lamar Jackson's mom, there's no deal that's good enough for him. That's why Lamar Jackson, who should be the number one shoe deal in the entire NFL, has no shoe deal. Because there's this kind of thing out in the air that nothing's good enough for Lamar Jackson. So he turned down $133 million. Someone's telling him that's not enough. And probably rightly so. That was probably undervalued. So I wonder about this puts Lamar in a really difficult position because, I just don't know if the people around him and the team around him have appropriately calculated the market. So he could end up missing out a lot of money. I'm not blaming his mom, but somebody is influencing him, and it hasn't worked out so far, although it could.
Well, I don't know if it's just his mom, though. Like, we don't know who else is around who's whispering in his ear. Because, how could he know the market when you see guys who are out here with agents who are, respected agents who miscalculate the market? I mean, guys who are still out there now or up until yesterday, or people who had no clue, thought they were getting big money and didn't,
Yeah.
So that happens all the time. Also, there's one detail about the Jordan story that's a little different, where, at least in this retelling, Jordan's mother gets some inside intel about the competitors at the time, Converse and Adidas. So she goes in sort of armed with a little bit of insider info.
Yeah.
And that leads to it. I don't know what Lamar's mom or Lamar's business, financial advisor, who's apparently making calls, we don't know how much they know.
Right. We actually don't, as you just said, we don't really know how this all works. Lamar has always been very kind of vague about his business operation. Although, isn't he launching an entertainment channel?
Apparently
What happened to it?
I think there's going to be an interview that he's doing on his own entertainment platform.
I thought that was coming out. Yeah.
I don't know when that drops. I think either today or tomorrow. We'll
There's
keep
a
an eye
chance Lamar's smarter than all of us, and this will all work out well. But I think you and I are both starting to feel a little panic. Oh, man. Is he going to go out there as a former MVP at 26 years old and play for $33 million? Which is plenty of money, by the way.
Yeah, but not for someone of his, not what the market would say about it.
Not a guy who could make 150.
Yeah.
Now, you and I would jump on this deal in 2 seconds.
But but we also couldn't take a hit that Lamar took. I mean, or that would not be good. That'd have been 2.
We could take one hit and then we're done.
And never breathe again. But I also think, it's interesting if he's, launching. I don't know if he already has the entertainment company. I don't know. maybe this is the perfect time. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Phil is in Pennsylvania. Phil, buddy, what's up?
Hey, Maggie. Hey, Pearl. How you guys doing?
Good. Hey, wait a minute. Phil, I'm sorry. Pause 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Someone took down your Carson Wentz poster.
Oh, man.
Phil, it just made me think of it. Okay, sorry, Phil. Go ahead.
That's all right. For Pat and Nick, I think they should do a show bet to decide who gets your glasses. Maybe the winner of the WBC game tonight, to determine the winner.
Oh, so somebody has to. Somebody takes Japan and someone takes U.S. and whoever wins. But then Pat and Nick don't have to do anything for it. They just pick the right
they don't
side.
have to, but at least it's decided fairly, and only this show does.
That's
if you
true.
have to be with a person, show bet, and let it decide. Let the court stand.
Man, Phil, sometimes I feel like you know us better than we know us. I mean, it's a great idea.
Yeah, but
you and me need to have a show bet eventually. I have one with Perloff, so you and me got to get together for one eventually.
Definitely.
Oh, our time is coming, Phil.
But
I'll meet you down the road.
Aren't both sides going to pick USA? I mean, both guys are going to want USA because they have the greatest player in the world, Trey Turner.
Yeah, who you disliked 2 months ago.
Yeah.
All right, Phil, we're going to think about it.
Seems unfair.
I don't know. I'm thinking about keeping the glasses myself now. But sorry, Pat, who did you want? You wanted USA or you wanted Japan?
I mean, I'll go villain route. I'll take Japan.
Are they the home team? They were the home team last night. Obviously, they won the walk-off.
That's a good question. I will check that right now.
We'll play some sound for you for that in just a moment. Big Dave, our buddy's calling from Kentucky's got a thought on Lamar Jackson. Hi, Dave.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
We're doing well. What do you think about Lamar?
Really interesting that you brought his mother up because it's a perfect segue into my point. And I was going to say that, the majority of this isn't being driven by fair market value and things like that. This is being driven by ego. And maybe it's not Lamar's ego that's the only one involved here. And here's the thing. I mean, you can't compare Lamar Jackson to some of these other quarterbacks. I mean, the Daniel Jones contract is silly. He obviously needs to be making more than someone like Daniel Jones. To start with, I'm kind of like McLovin. I think he stays where he is. I think he's probably going to wind up with north of $30 million a year, probably for 3 years, maybe half of that or more of it guaranteed. But the thing about it is, you can't gloss over the fact that a huge part of Lamar Jackson's arsenal is the fact that he can run and he's mobile and he can do things that most other quarterbacks can't. But if you take that away, he's not Lamar Jackson. That's a risk that any owner, if they have any business sense whatsoever, has to take into account when you're talking about guaranteed money going forward. And before I hang up, Maggie, I saw what you did there before the break.
Oh boy.
What?
Are you talking about her singing?
No, she asked if Nick Saban was taking shots at the Alabama.
Oh, you know what? I actually didn't mean that. I didn't mean that pun. I know, Dave, you're going to think I'm joking. I would never make a joke like that. I did not mean that.
I know that.
I didn't mean that.
I know that.
But,
I know that, Maggie. And I'm just poking fun. It's not something to be laughed at, but anyway.
Dave, thank you for calling me on it. As only a former warden would do.
I didn't even. That went right over my head.
And I would not make that kind of joke. We'll play that sound for you as well. But I like this from Jeffrey Howell in the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio if you want to get involved. Running quarterbacks are a greater risk of injury because they don't fully commit during the run. Should I slide? Should I go for it?
Well, yeah.
Some guys are just better than others. Like, guys who have like the baseball backgrounds, Kyler Murray, Mahomes, Russell Wilson, these guys can slide. It's beautiful.
Yeah, Lamar's pretty good at it.
Yeah, Lamar's good at it too.
But, I mean, Lamar statistically profiles like a running back. I mean, at a certain point, running backs, if you have a certain amount of carries, you almost always fall off a cliff. Lamar, I'm looking at his numbers right now. He ran for 695 as a rookie, then 1,200 yards, 1,000 yards, 767 yards in 12 games. That's got to weigh on you. I mean, I think that your legs can only do so much. You know what the worst tragedy in sports, by the way, talking about this contract? I hate if a guy like Lamar never got the money, never got anything. Dennis Schroeder turning down that $84 million extension for 4 years and not getting any money, that kills me.
Yeah, but do you feel bad for the person? I mean,
kind of
it's
feel
kind of
bad.
their own fault, right?
Well, Dennis Schroeder seems like a knucklehead, but I kind of do feel bad for them. Imagine turning down $84 million and getting a $5 million contract the next year.
No. That's not where you feel bad for a guy. You feel bad for a guy if right before they're about to get paid, they get hurt. That's when you feel bad for a guy. I can't feel bad for someone for turning down $130 million. Like, that's just your prerogative. As Dave said, that could be ego getting in the way. I have no idea. Maybe he just wants to see his full value. He saw Deshaun Watson get this crazy money. He wants to get that money and show that Watson contract was not going to be the anomaly. That's now going to be the thing.
But you don't feel bad that Schroeder, I mean, he might make some of that money back, but he's going to live his whole life with that regret. That doesn't bother you? Just thinking about what it would be like.
Because it was his fault. It's if he had gotten a devastating injury and all of a sudden,
terrible.
like Isaiah Thomas, the other one, not the Hall of Famer, the one who played for the Celtics.
Right.
Remember, he was like on the verge of big money. And then
did he never get that money?
He never got that money. Like,
the
that
worst.
I feel bad about.
That's terrible. I feel terrible for the guys who get hurt at the combine. I mean, that is
brutal.
That is brutal. Yeah, no, those are all worth feeling bad for. But for me, Schroeder, $84 million, that's the most comical one. If Lamar never gets paid, that'll feel like a real misjustice. I mean, never gets over $100 million.
He has himself to blame. If the contract was really there, which he put out there on Twitter that it was, that 3 years, $133 million. I mean, it might not be fair market value, but he definitely turned it down.
Yeah, would have been about 42. Yeah, he should have. If nothing happens this offseason, then he's going to look back on that with regret.
Totally, as he should. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Listen, maybe he gets the last laugh. It's possible. Thomas Dimitroff, as the former Falcons GM, said he thinks he's getting a big deal. So he would know more than us. You can watch us on youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. You can listen to us several places across the country. Our CBS Sports Radio amazing affiliates, SiriusXM Channel 158, the free Odyssey app. All right, we've got a lot of sound we have to play. So what are we going to do next? We've got World Baseball Classic sound. We've got Nick Saban sound. We'll do the Nick Saban sound next. You got to hear what he had to say about one of his players who's gotten in some pretty serious trouble. We'll get to that after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
Willis Reed has died at the age of 80. He will be forever remembered for courageously playing through a torn thigh muscle, leading the Knicks to the 1970 championship. Almost anyone who was at Madison Square Garden that night for Game 7 will say the game was over when he limped out of the locker room and onto the court. Reed was the MVP of that final series, as well as the next and last one the Knicks would win in 1973. He was one of the 50 greatest players in NBA history, a 7-time All-Star in his 10 seasons with the New York Knicks. Willis Reed, dead at the age of 80. Rick Pitino has led 5 teams to the NCAA tournament, 3 to the Final Four, and won national championships with 2 different schools. He's hoping to add to his legacy at St. John's, taking over as the Red Storm's new head coach. He had been to the tourney with 5 different schools, but today is on another level for him.
I've been to the Garden as the Knick coach. I've been to the Garden as the Providence coach. And now I get to represent something really, really special. And it's not about when or if. It's going to happen for St. John's. And it's going to happen in a big way.
Tobin Anderson takes Pitino's old job at Iona after leading Fairleigh Dickinson to the upset victory over Purdue in the NCAA tournament Friday. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Coming up later on the Zach Gelb Show, tune in to see if Hot Take Hickey will take his shirt off like Eric Musselman. If he doesn't, we'll still have Isaiah Wong and Scott Drew stopping by. 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific.
'You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We're back on Maggie and Perloff. I think everyone has to understand we're a little, I wouldn't say hungover, but...
No, we weren't drinking.
Yeah, but that was the latest that we had stayed out together a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while since we did a late night like that, but
On a
it was
Monday
a good
night.
party, so I had to stay.
And the rules are different. Monday night, you cannot stay out past 11. That's ridiculous, right?
I don't know. People who are listening to us who are younger probably are like, you losers, but
doesn't it feel kind of like Friday now? Because, or something. I can't believe it's Tuesday.
it feels like, oh man, we still got a long way to go this week.
Yeah, totally.
It's only Tuesday.
It was worth it. Yeah, we are definitely getting soft, Maggie. Although you strided up to the mic pre-show and karaoke time after time by Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah, so
we were
out late at the air premiere last night, the movie. Then they were doing karaoke for National Women's Month.
Yeah.
International Women's Month. And I posted a snippet of me doing karaoke and lost followers. Touche.
I thought you sounded great.
That.
I thought you sounded really good.
I think there might be something wrong with your hearing.
I think there could be. Pat, I need you to listen to this. I think Maggie has a good singing voice.
Should we play it?
No.
Yes, 100%. 1,000%.
First of all,
yeah, you know, the thing about that, Maggie, it's a shame because I'm the one that's running all the sound here.
I know, and you're also the one, but I'll trade you the cool glasses for you not playing
But
that
Perloff
sound.
doesn't want his glasses,
No,
so I know that I've got a good 50-50
These
shot
are yours, Pat, to play that clip.
Okay. See?
I'll walk him over right now. But
first of all, Paula and Noah, who are also in there singing with me, they sounded great. So I think that was masking a little of my bad singing.
Is it getting hot in here? It seems like Maggie's turning slightly red right now.
I do not want that going. I put it on social,
Yeah,
and,
you put it on
I
social.
lost followers. Like the reviews are in, guys. It's bad.
I thought she sounded great. I think it's more of a judgment on me. Am I completely tone deaf and I misread how you kind of? I felt like you embodied Cyndi Lauper. I was back in 1988.
Man, if I could come back and do it all over again and be anybody, I'd want to be Cyndi Lauper.
Cyndi Lauper?
Yeah, hell yeah. She had a great career. She had so many bangers.
And she also got involved in pro wrestling, which was huge for me as a kid.
She was like wrestling. She's done a lot of really cool things. The Goonies.
She was wrestling?
Yeah, she was very close with Captain Lou Albano, who you probably don't even remember, who was a famous wrestling manager at the time.
WWE like F?
Yeah.
My days my days started with like Kane and Undertaker.
Yeah,
Child.
About 15 years ahead of where we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sydney, but can you picture America's biggest pop star who's a woman, gets heavily involved, got in the ring and hit somebody with a chair? It was the best of times.
Like if Taylor Swift was on SmackDown this week and came in and destroyed John Cena.
I'd say closer to Katy Perry.
Yeah, I don't know if Swift is.
Taylor Swift's a different thing altogether.
Cyndi Lauper was like A-list, but like A-.
Yes.
I don't know. She was really huge, though. She was a huge star. I don't want to shortchange Cyndi Lauper.
Girls Just Want to Have Fun was an anthem.
Yes, without a doubt.
And then Time After Time was a good song. I don't know any other.
The Goonies one.
There's other songs by Cyndi Lauper?
Yeah, she did the Goonies song. I keep saying it over and over again. And she
also did the Goonies song.
Yeah, and a couple more.
Wait, I thought when you kept saying the Goonies song, I thought that was Time After Time or Girls Just Want to Have Fun. There's another song?
No, there's another song. Yeah, True Colors. True Colors is a great song.
Is that not Cyndi Lauper?
What? I have no idea what that was. I Love You Always Forever?
Yeah, that song.
No.
I thought that was her.
No, Cyndi Lauper was like in the 80s.
Okay, she also had All Through the Night, She Bop, Money Changes Everything.
Money Changes Everything is a great song, too.
Yeah, I found out what She Bop was about later, and I didn't understand that.
Goonies Are Good Enough. That's the name of the song.
Goonies Are Good Enough. I don't remember that one. Maybe you'll hit that on karaoke.
Maybe next. It stopped at 3 Eastern.
Yeah.
Apologies, everyone.
It was pretty crazy. They had this movie, this sort of high-end movie with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon for the huge, most emotional scene. Bang, Cyndi Lauper, Time After Time.
It hit. It was perfect.
Okay, I like it.
That was one of my big positive takeaways from the movie. Okay, we did mention we have some Nick Saban sound. Let's get to that.
Okay, good transition.
I'm going to try. Nick Saban yesterday. So Tony Mitchell, who's one of the soon-to-be star defensive backs for the Alabama Crimson Tide, was arrested on Wednesday in Florida. He was going allegedly, this is all alleged, 141 miles an hour. That's not good. 226 grams of marijuana in the car. Also had another person in the car, someone named Christopher Lewis, who is not part of the Alabama program, who was charged with carrying a concealed firearm without a permit. He also happened to have $7,000 in cash. He has been suspended indefinitely. That is Tony Mitchell. Here with Saban.
Tony Mitchell has been suspended from the team and all team activities until we gather more information about the situation and what his legal circumstance is. And, guys, everybody's got an opportunity to make choices and decisions. There's no such thing in being at the wrong place at the wrong time. You got to be responsible for who you're with, who you're around, and what you do, who you associate yourself with, and the situations that you put yourself in.
Okay, so what's notable about that is, first of all, this is, Tony Mitchell could be facing something pretty serious here. We have no idea, but that's not a great, combination of things. 141 miles an hour and the marijuana in the car and the concealed firearm without a permit. All of that stuff could be bad for the freshman. But the idea where he says no one's ever at the wrong place at the wrong time, you make your choices about who you associate yourself with and where you put yourself. And that is obviously notable because Nate Oats, who is the head coach of Alabama men's basketball, said about Brandon Miller, who obviously was involved tangentially in a fatal shooting. He has not been charged with anything. Yeah. Nate Oats said he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
There's no such thing in being at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah. Do you think that was intentional by Saban?
So I think most people think that was an intentional shot. I'm not 100% convinced because these situations are very, very different. Basically, Brandon Miller was with a teammate. You can't say, well, he wasn't even with it. He's spending the night with a teammate. Right. A coach can't say you shouldn't be around another teammate. And also, too, if these allegations are true, this is a much more serious trouble than Mitchell, than anything Brandon Miller faced. I don't know. I have read a lot and heard a lot of podcasts on that night, and there is a really substantial argument from Brandon Miller's side that he had no idea a crime was going to be committed, and there was a distance that he was, in a sense, the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, I'm not totally off the hook, but I think there's a good argument Brandon Miller had, and I think the police realized this, that there's just no way he could have anticipated how this was all going to go.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the courts are going to decide it, right? And right now he hasn't been charged with anything.
He'll never be charged with anything.
But, it is did he know that there was a gun in the car?
Probably.
I think he did. I think the text messages show that he did know that there was a gun in the car. Did he know that it was going to be used for something fatal? But, do you bring a loaded gun to an area where there's all these bars and you know that your friends have been drinking?
Yes, of course you do. Everybody, there's guns on the street right now. It's a huge problem. Everybody's bringing guns to all these things. Right. And the other thing, he was going to pick him up. Miles brought the gun with him, and he had to go pick him up at some point. Was he not going to pick him up because he had this gun in his car? That was not realistically going to happen. The other thing, Brandon Miller was incredibly lucky to survive. He got the guy either one of the parties shot his windshield twice. Yeah. It was pure luck that he didn't die in that, and that was not his intention either.
It's all so tragic. It really is. Yeah. And I think that what happened with the Alabama men's basketball situation was it didn't look like or sound like the team and the administration was giving it the full weight and gravity of the fact that this woman who was a young mother who lost her life, that they were not taking it seriously because they never even said we're suspending him before more facts come out or gathering more information or he's going to have to take a step away while we get all this stuff ironed out. I don't know if that would have done anything or mattered, but the image that was projected from Alabama men's basketball at the time was not one where it was like this was a huge tragedy, but hey, we've got a basketball game we got to play. And I think that rubbed people the wrong way.
Definitely, and I totally understand that, but there's a chance Alabama said, hey, we don't want to put this kid in a bad spot and make him look bad in front of the authorities. He's not getting – the authorities have said, basically, we're not charging you with anything. And then Alabama suspends him. Maybe they didn't really want to weigh judgment on him because they did not want him to get in any legal trouble. The other thing, too, is – I don't know. There's no evidence I've seen that Brandon Miller had any idea a woman was in the car or knew the situation. Right. So, there's a distance from the actual crime that Brandon Miller's people have argued. Then I think the police bought. He just did not know what was going on. Yeah. And it is the wrong place, wrong time. Yeah. There's going to be 30 for 30s on what happened because Alabama is the number 1 seed. Yep. I don't think he's going to be charged. But he's going to probably be the number 2 pick in the draft now, too. This is not a story that's going away.
Not at all.
So I'm curious, too, is there anything – Brandon Miller has spoken and said, this is a tragedy. He said, unspeakable, I feel so bad for what happened. But is there – how are you going to eventually judge Brandon Miller? Is it going to be 5 years from now if he becomes an outstanding citizen? What happens next?
I think it's only time tells.
Yeah.
I think this stays with Nate Oats, though, because because one of his players, not Brandon Miller, but another player, has been charged with, capital murder.
Yeah.
Along with that player's friend. So this definitely, has to stay in Nate Oats in the program for sure.
It's interesting, but then again, the coach, I don't know, is the coach's fault that Darius Miles made these terrible string of decisions?
It's not his fault, no, but is there a lack of oversight? Crazy story. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Coming up, the biggest story in sports reaches its conclusion tonight. We'll tell you what we're talking about next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
With Russell Wilson, my bar is pretty high for weirdness. Like, this just feels like a Tuesday for Russell Wilson. It's so funny because he's so straight-laced, but then he has the most bizarre little social media things you'll ever see.
That's what I want to know about Russell's marketing. What's the angle? What's the philosophy we're going for with this guy?
I'm unlimited.
He's got that self-help vibe. You know how Tony Robbins comes off as kind of creepy?
That's the lane he's trying to go in?
That's the lane we're in right now.
Wow. I'm embarrassed for him.
Be careful, though.
Yeah.
It's like Wedding Crashers, and she's like, I'll find you. Remember that?
Yeah.
Be careful, though.
Are we doing serial killer? That's what's going to sell the sandwiches? Because
spicy.
why? Because it's spicy?
It's spicy.
What a stone cold weirdo that guy is.
Unlimited.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
What up? Welcome to the show. It's Tuesday. You're listening to Maggie and Perloff. I'm Maggie Gray. That's Andrew Perloff. It could be one of my worst opinions I've ever had.
No, you screwed up, Maggie. Big time.
The sports world has basically turned around and just given me the middle finger so hard. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
The World Baseball Classic, something I railed against because I am a Mets fan. Edwin Diaz is the Mets closer. He got hurt celebrating a win. Puerto Rico beat the Dominican Republic, and now he's out for the season, and I railed against the WBC. Then when Jose Altuve got hit by a pitch, broke his thumb, I thought, oh, more people will come on board and join me on this tournament is meaningless and stinks.
Because Jose Altuve, that's not the guy you want to get hurt if you want people to help you out.
Right. He's only a villain for 29 other teams.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was like, oh, this is going to be great for me. Everyone's going to come on board like, boo, WBC. No, Major League Baseball's better. And what keeps happening? The tournament keeps getting better and better and better. This thing has captured the imagination of not only baseball fans, Perloff, but just sports fans in general. It's like, what's going on? The NCAA tournament, the WBC, people can't get enough.
Yeah.
And here I am outside looking in, like holding on to the chain link fence, like, hey, looks like you guys are having fun over there, but I can't come in now.
Yeah.
I already said I didn't like it.
No, I've gotten so emotional about it. I'm comparing it to Field of Dreams. It is the joy of baseball. It takes me back in time to when I was a kid, and players were out there earning $100,000 a year and giving their all and going for every ground ball, and it's just the passion. It is so much better than what I perceive as regular season baseball right now. There's an electricity that we haven't seen in so long in baseball. The pride, the camaraderie, the actual baseball itself is exciting. Everything is working perfectly for WBC.
Okay,
and I'm
got it. I know.
Now listen.
I messed up.
If a Philly had been injured, I would have been in your exact same shoes. Listen, you're a Mets fan, and I really respect that. You put the Mets
Well, it's the one thing you dislike
baseball.
about me the most, actually.
I can't stand the Mets. I've always hated the Mets. I hate the Braves, but I really hate the Mets.
It doesn't match up with my personality. Like, it's weird. I know.
Being a Mets fan?
Yeah.
Because, a Mets fan is a negative kind of thing.
Well, that's kind of me, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it perfectly about
You have two... Bills fan, everyone loves Maggie the Bills fan.
Yeah, you guys love Maggie the Bills fan. Yeah.
We all love Maggie the Bills fan. Nobody likes Maggie the Mets fan.
No, hate it. You guys hate me as a Mets fan. I get it. I kind of hate myself as a Mets fan.
But yeah, once in a while you'll take somebody in the office and you'll corner them and make them talk about the Mets for 10 minutes.
Well, I mean, it's not hard around here.
Yeah.
This is easy pickings. But okay, so I'm so wrong about this.
You're wrong.
The WBC is just amazing and punctuated last night, okay, by an epic game between Japan and Mexico. Japan wins on a walk-off 2-run double or 2-run hit, whatever. We're going to play you both calls because they're both spectacular and just underscores how devastatingly wrong I am about this tournament. Here first is Japan beating Mexico in English. Let's hear it.
Cracked in the air, deep center field. Thomas on the move. It's off the wall. Otani's in to score. Here comes the winning run. Japan turns it around on its last breath.
I mean, excellent call from Joe Davis and Fox, doing a fantastic call.
It's bigger than the World Series, Maggie.
It was a hell of a call.
It's bigger than the World Series.
Felt like Game 7. And now here's the call in Japanese. I mean, if that doesn't put a smile on your face, it's like multiple people screaming, just joyful. One guy definitely jumped the call on the other guy, but it doesn't even matter because everyone's just in a state of euphoria.
Absolutely.
And here I am in the corner, just like.
Well, okay, but let's get real about tonight. Shohei Ohtani is not starting. He pitched 5 days ago. He said he wants to pitch him relief after the game last night.
Man, it's like Game 7.
But if you're the Angels, okay, you're right. It is like Game 7. But what's the one thing? Forget your closer, who's probably going to be a bust this year anyway, Edwin Diaz. Sorry. Shohei Ohtani, what is the one most important health issue in all of sports, all of baseball? Shohei Ohtani.
And he's in a contract year.
Yeah, you cannot put extra mileage on Shohei Ohtani. So what if he goes out there, and if he goes out there and he gets hurt,
okay,
then the WBC is over.
That's why I'm still staying over here in my corner.
You have
a take. I'm in the doghouse.
But it does feel like, and many people have noted that, the irony of Mike Trout going against Shohei Ohtani in this final, where the two of them never even sniffed the postseason with the Angels, is just delicious.
Yeah, of course, like they're killing it in this tournament. They're both excellent, along with their guy Trey Turner, who's hit like 4 home runs. He's like setting records for the WBC.
That might be one of the greatest calls ever.
Which one?
The Japanese version.
It's amazing. We don't even know what they're saying, but it's so good.
I know you get the double sayonara.
Yeah. So good. Yeah. How many guys do you think are in the booth? I feel like I hear 3 guys.
There's got to be 3. There's for sure at least 2.
Yeah.
And I think whoever's doing the play-by-play just got totally stomped on by the other 2 guys.
Imagine, right? Like that. That's just really supposed to be the no-go for broadcasters. You're not supposed to step on it, but it doesn't matter because it's pure joy. Between that and the NCAA tournament, we've had some really good calls lately.
Absolutely. And we're going to have an amazing call tonight when U.S. wins.
I mean... Yeah, I hope the U.S. wins. It's just I can't come back in. Like, I got FOMO. I have the fear of missing out. Like, I know I'm missing out. I know I put my foot in my mouth and, like, I drew my line in the sand, and now I've got to be over here with all the no-fun people watching, like, I don't know, like reruns of Seinfeld or something.
Maggie's going to ask, can I watch the final tonight? And the collective baseball community is going to go.
Thank you, Pat. And I deserve it. Just get out. You weren't on board, so you don't get to enjoy the final. I really feel that way.
Can I read you tonight's likely starting lineup just to make you feel even worse?
Sure.
This is what you're missing. Mookie Betts to lead off. Ever heard of him? Followed by Mike Trout. Followed by Paul Goldschmidt, who hit the ball into the night the other night.
Yeah.
Followed by Nolan Arenado. Followed by Kyle Schwarber, the best. Then Will Smith. Pete Alonso is 7th in this darn lineup. He's 7th. And then Trey Turner, the hottest hitter in all the world, is number 9. I mean, that is
strategic, to reset the top of the lineup.
Right, but this is an all-star team. This is crazy.
It's better than the all-star team. The all-star team is watered down compared to this. This is incredible.
Yeah, it has. It's funny, though, because the WBC's been around for a little while. I don't remember ever being into it like this. What happened? Does anyone know?
I think they missed. Did they miss one because of COVID?
The last one was 2017, so I think they initially were doing it every 4 years. So they didn't have it in 21. I don't know why they didn't have it last year. Maybe because it was a lockout.
So is this only the 2nd or 3rd WBC? It must be.
I think this is the 4th.
Yeah, they've done it since 2006, I believe, right?
But this would be the 5th.
Yeah.
2006, 10, 13, 17.
And now 23.
Correct.
Yeah. Everyone's into it. I think it starts because the players are super into it, which has been before. And then obviously, they're playing the games here in the United States, which is not always the case. They kind of spread it out all over.
That might help too.
Yeah.
Baseball is interesting because it is the most international of our sports right now. Look at how many teams have pros on them. Basketball is pretty international. Baseball is everywhere. So
I know, but then you had the team from the Czech Republic where it was a bunch of guys who were firemen and plumbers and stuff.
I know.
That's what I was kind of railing against. I'm like, Edwin Diaz is not going to pitch for the Mets. Meanwhile, if you're a plumber, you just go back to your job, no harm, no foul.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, a lot of these countries, Japan obviously has a lot of pros. Of course, Latin America has a lot of teams with a lot of pros. So
yeah, they're all pros.
And Maggie, I kind of got to hit back at you here. You love the Cinderellas in the NCAA tournament. You don't love the Cinderellas and the plumbers in the World Baseball Classic.
No, not when it messes with my baseball team.
No,
obviously.
Listen, yeah, Pat, you're a Yankees fan, right?
No, I'm a Cubs fan.
Cubs fan. Oh, so you're kind of out of it right now. But you have no idea. She was moping around all day after the Edwin Diaz injury.
Definitely. I'm still moping.
I can imagine.
You think the mope has ended?
Just buy another closer. What's the difference? You have Steve Cohen as your owner.
You think closers are just walking around now? No, now you have to make a move for one at the deadline, and who knows what you're going to have to give up because everyone in baseball knows you're desperate as hell to get a closer. You got no leverage.
Even if
this is still very close.
This is also
to the
the Mets, by the way. This is the Mets. Even if you win 103 games, we all know what's going to happen anyway.
But I get it. Hey, wait, Largent Parks is in the chat. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio says it's been glorious. All caps. Come aboard, Maggie. It's not too late.
Yeah.
See, I think it is too late. I think I poo-pooed this thing. Sports World giving me the middle finger.
I'm just giving you a hard time. Of course, you can jump on board tonight, and I think you will. Right? You'll get into it. Can you picture yourself sitting on the couch watching FS1? I think it's FS1 and enjoying it tonight.
I'm gonna watch it. Yeah.
Are you gonna get into it?
And I'm gonna sit with my hand. I'm gonna sit on my hands.
And then Pete Alonso is gonna get hit in the hand on his first at bat.
Yes. And Pete Alonso is gonna somehow suffer a devastating knee injury while he's going over to the Gatorade to grab a drink of water.
Listen. Okay.
Because that's what would happen.
Also, you say it's meaningless, but as a Phillies fan, I'm taking a lot of pride into watching Trey Turner and watching Schwarber, and I think it's cool to have your own play. I'm glad my players are there.
Yeah, good for you, Perloff.
I mean, listen, we all watch. It's not WBC is not any more meaningless than, say, the NBA regular season. That's complete. That's exhibition games, and we try to watch those.
Nobody cares about those games.
Yeah, in fact, So I think we could get into this. I mean, come on, NBA right now, March. By the end of March, the NBA is in such a drag through the end of the season. So my point is tonight, this is definitely your best viewing option.
No doubt. Two-Ton Tony says Maggie's blood pressure just went up. I know. He knows me too well.
In what sense?
As soon as you start talking about don't worry about it. The Mets don't even need a closer because nothing's going to happen. And all of a sudden my face starts to turn a little bit red. Yeah.
Baseball is so funny. If your team is good, it is so much fun to watch. When you have a bad team, it can ruin an entire summer.
Well, you just don't watch. I think most people tune out when their team sucks.
Yeah.
How much of the process did you watch?
I loved it, all of it.
You loved watching the team lose?
The process to me was deeply important because it was the ultimate. The nerds are taking over the sport.
I know, but who wants that? That's not awesome.
Because I thought it was going to end
rooting for Princeton.
I thought it was going to end up as the greatest team of all time. I thought they were going to get 5 number 1 picks in a row. I'm a big process guy.
I mean, they still have, Fultz ended up actually not being that bad.
He's
but
pretty bad.
I mean, he plays for Orlando, who really knows? But you got Embiid out of it, and you did get Ben Simmons out of it. It's just, Simmons is MIA.
The problem is, for some reason, there was a string of really bad drafts when they had the top picks. Ben Simmons, there was no one behind Ben Simmons that ended up being that good. Nerlens Noel was one of the guys.
Yeah.
It just, you need some luck, too.
Did Nerlens Noel ever play a game for the Sixers?
Nerlens Noel, yeah, he was there for a long time. Probably 4 years.
No, I know, but didn't he miss? Wasn't he the second straight one to miss, the first year and a half along with, Embiid?
And Simmons.
Did Noel? I'd have to double check that. I feel like Noel got in a little quicker. Then they took, who's the big guy out of Duke that was a huge disappointment? Jahlil Okafor.
Yeah, Jahlil Okafor.
At number 3.
I'm telling you.
Right ahead of Kristaps Porzingis.
Jahlil Okafor. I was at that draft. The Karl Anthony Towns went number 1 overall. I was at that draft at the Barclays Center covering it for SI. And I swear to you, I've never seen this before in the history of a draft. Jahlil Okafor was upset. He was angry.
Why did he win number 3?
he was 3rd overall. He thought that he was going 2nd to L.A. He thought he was going to the Lakers, and then he fell to 3, and he's going to the 76ers, who are deep into like a losing philosophy. And it's the only person I've ever interviewed at a draft who doesn't have a massive smile just plastered on their face. Like, dude, you just became a multi-gajillionaire with a rookie contract that's fully guaranteed, and it was like somebody had killed his dog. It was unreal.
Who'd they take? Alonzo Ball?
No. I think that was either D'Angelo Russell or Julius Randle.
That was the Okafor draft, you said?
Yeah.
Is that Randle?
2015 was Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell.
D'Angelo Russell, yeah. That's what it was.
Nerlens Noel only missed the first year, by the way. He did. So, yeah, he played basically like 70 games in the second year. But it just felt like there was a string of like, all right, the Sixers draft so-and-so number 1, and you'll see him in 2 years.
Yeah.
Which is great. Because
they kept losing.
They kept losing. You know,
till the league had to step in.
Think about Okafor.
Congrats.
I remember Okafor right before his rookie season came on the Dan Patrick Show, and he said something that we were all sitting there listening to. He said, "Yeah, I moved into Philadelphia, and my mom and my sister are going to live with me." And the way he said it is like he just sounded so immature. And
maybe they knew what was best for him.
Well, also, too, he was setting up. He almost immediately, he played really well his rookie year. I think he scored like 17 points a game. But his attitude from day one was so awful.
Yeah, there was like a situation in Boston that happened. Right?
Yeah, I feel like he was never ready. He was so talented, too. But that's what happened in the process. You got all the wrong picks. I'd like to see a football team really process it out, see what happens.
We just did. The Jags just did this for Trevor Lawrence. And it worked.
They
did it. They got back-to-back 2 years number 1 overall pick. They processed.
They tanked. They didn't. That's not a process. One tank is not a process.
It was 2 tanks. Well, I guess they didn't intend to be that bad with Urban Meyer. It just like worked out really well for them.
Yeah, and also too, they got a number 1 pick that was kind of worthless in Trayvon Walker. Probably the 4th best defensive end in that draft.
Yeah, but I mean,
they were not tanking for that draft.
Well, I don't know. Walker might still end up being good.
Yeah, but
it's only his rookie season.
But my point is, they definitely were not like, oh, we got to get up to number 1 in that draft. The thing about the Jags were almost in the Super Bowl in 2017, so that's 5 years later. The process, you got to do years and years of this. Houston's probably the closest, right? Ever since Deshaun left, they've not. Are they trying to win?
I mean, they just signed a flurry of guys yesterday. Yeah, I know. How about this? Nebby Z is in the chat. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio says, Maggie, I'm a masochist. I watch or listen to just about every Pirates game. Hats off to you, man.
I hate that the Pirates are not allowed to have a good team. Is that one of the most annoying things?
Why aren't they allowed?
Because they won't spend. They'll get rid of all those guys. I'm saying that the ownership will not keep good guys. Like, just...
I know. It's one of the big problems with baseball. We're wondering why the World Baseball Classic is great. Look at these, there's no worry about salary, floors and luxury taxes and competitive balance taxes and all that BS.
Well, yeah, it's BS, but it's also there's some joy in watching guys who aren't making $450 million. Do you think the money of baseball players turns people off? I think it could. It's insane.
I know, but then you can't have it both ways. Like, you either want to watch the guys who make a lot of money or you're going to have the Pirates. And that stinks, too.
Yeah, I know, but I think the money has turned baseball into an unlikable product. And the fact that the owners are printing money, how can you get behind, I don't know, Manny Machado getting $350 million or whatever? Give me any. It's just a turnoff, no?
Well, but it doesn't. The reason why I don't think it's a turnoff is there's no salary cap. So it's not like it's preventing, if you have Manny Machado for $350 million, it doesn't mean you can't also sign, pitchers and stuff. It's just how much do the owners want to spend.
But you see these gigantic contracts that you just know are never going to pay off. I think it's frustrating as a fan. Not that there's anything. Listen, I understand players have every right to go for it, but just as a fan, you're watching this. I'm like, I know,
but it doesn't prevent you from doing anything else. Like, it shouldn't turn you off. Because it's just the owners.
I'd always get angrier at the owners that don't spend money when they can versus the guys that get the large contracts.
Totally.
Then you know that your team's trying to win.
But you don't think that there's something that's kind of ugly about baseball right now in general? Why is baseball not what it was?
Well, there's a lot of reasons.
And that's why the pitch clock, I think, is going to be revolutionary.
The pitch clock, banning the shift. I think a lot of that stuff is really going to help. I don't think it's about the contracts. Like, I think people didn't like Alex Rodriguez because of his contract and sort of how A-Rod was, and then the steroid stuff. There was a lot of things there. But I don't think people dislike, Machado or dislike Trout because he's making so much money.
I just think baseball is because lost something. It's not their fault. I get these guys should go for all the money they can, but it just doesn't feel like there's this thing going on in the WBC, and I kind of remember from a kid, it's like, wow, these guys are really
It's
hustling.
tapping into something.
Yeah, they're really hustling for every dime, Same thing's happened in the NBA. The money, I think you could easily argue the money has taken away some of the competitiveness from the game. Like, listen, are those guys really trying to kill each other out there to make an extra buck? Maybe not.
Well, the one thing about basketball where it stinks is that you have guys who get paid these massive contracts, who aren't impacting winning enough.
Well, baseball is the same way. That's what I'm saying.
Right, but there's a cap, though. So, like, if you're the Washington Wizards and you give Bradley Beal basically the gross domestic product of a small country, it prevents you potentially from maybe signing someone else who could help you win. Him alone isn't going to help you win. Baseball, there's no cap. Spend as much as you want.
Right, but there is something, I think it's easy to just, like, say your guy Lindor, how much is he making?
What was it, like $340 something? I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's never going to present that kind of value. I think that you do build resentment over time when guys are getting over that. I think it's
only if you don't have a rich owner who can make up for it.
Even so, I don't know. I think there's a charm to seeing a sport with guys who are really, really fighting. I just think these athletes have become so big and so rich that I don't know.
I know, but I'd rather the athletes have the money than the owners.
Yeah, well,
that does nothing for us.
You're right. That's a good point.
The beers aren't getting any cheaper, and the parking's not getting any cheaper.
Yeah, I do think baseball, Bob. I think there's going to be a huge bubble for all of this too, because baseball has been printing money for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
As its popularity slides down, that doesn't make any sense to me.
It's all right. The World Baseball Classic's going to save everything.
I think it's the best marketing thing they've done. I can't even remember anything close. It's the number one best thing that's happened to them in forever.
The latest on Aaron Rodgers, the Packers, and the Jets. I was about to call it a menage a trois. I shouldn't have done that. Just thinking that's not what this is. But we have the latest for you in just a moment. You're listening and watching Maggie and Perloff. We're on CBS Sports Radio across the country, Sirius XM channel 158. We're on the Odyssey app, and we are streaming youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff.
It's a good song for our glasses.
Yeah. Oh, our air glasses.
Yeah.
You know who we needed last night, Maggie?
We were at the Air premiere.
We were at the Air premiere with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Are we going to go down the whole list of celebrities? There were so many more.
I know. I wrote them down because I wanted to make sure that we didn't miss any.
I know. Well, for me, the thrill of the night was seeing Lou Diamond Phillips, who you didn't even notice.
I love that we set up that this is like this really amazing party, and you're talking about Lou Diamond Phillips.
LDP, are you kidding me? He's a legend.
I did see him on Broadway.
But you know who we needed last night?
Who?
We needed our hype man. We needed our guy who could start a conversation with anyone, especially who could start a conversation with two dudes from Boston. Oh, man, if we had friend of the show, Sully, there.
Oh, my gosh. Sully, we needed you last night.
The invite must have got lost in the mail.
It was a last-minute thing.
By the way, you guys are on a delay. These glasses are legendary right now.
I know.
Wait, should we...
McLovin, you need to constantly wear these glasses.
You're saying I shouldn't give them to Pat Boyle, who's working with us today?
No.
I don't know.
Maybe we'll lend them to Pat. We're never getting them back. There's no way Pat's taking this to a music festival and coming back with them. No shot.
No.
Did you get those last night?
Yes, they were giving them out at the premiere.
Maybe Pat deserves a pair.
Shelly, I have those other glasses that make me look like Robert De Niro in Casino.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Sam Rothstein glasses.
Yeah, when I come out and visit you in Vegas, those are the ones I'm going to be wearing. These are a little
Buddy,
too...
you and I could be twins.
Wait, I know. Sully, I feel like you have to have met Damon and Affleck. You've met everybody.
I have not. Those are two guys that I don't know. I would absolutely fan out if I ever were to meet those two. I'm excited to see that movie. I mean, I think you guys know I'm a big sneaker guy, and to hear the history of it all. And you know, McLovin, I was with a friend of ours last night that I had no idea was even in the movie, and he was wondering, did he get cut out in it or not as the Adidas executive?
No. Can we say the friend's name or?
Sure.
Jay Moore. Yeah, no, he had 3 or 4 scenes. He was great.
I forget that you guys are friends with Jay Moore. Yes, Jay Moore was excellent. He plays an Adidas executive.
Yeah.
And he nails it.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's funny because there's a lot of little scenes. Marlon Wayans played George Raveling real quick. So it was kind of movie where you could get in for a minute and make a splash and jump back out. But it was really a ton of Matt Damon and a ton of Ben Affleck, which is, for someone like you, is cool, I guess.
So it would be fantastic. So do I go see it in the theater or do I wait till it comes home?
So here would be my one thing. I was happy that we saw it in a theater because, to be honest, Sully, I think that if I was at home, I might have gotten distracted with my phone and I might have missed some crucial things. Because, you know, when you're home, it's like, you know, you start thinking like, oh, the dishwasher and this and whatever, like, got to take the dogs out, whatever it is. I was kind of happy that I got to just focus on this.
By the way, whoever's doing the font, Sully on the phone is such large font, I want to pay that guy. The size of the font is amazing on the screen right now. But what I was calling in on, I want that Japanese song or the call of the Japanese winning run.
Yes. You just want us to play it again?
I don't know if did you guys lose me?
Yeah, we just lost you.
No, Shruby just got in the car and my Bluetooth picked up. Sorry about that. I apologize.
Super annoying. That happens to me all the time.
So what I was saying was I want that call of the Japanese walk-off to constantly play when I walk in the bedroom. for Smoopy.
Why it's saying sayonara? You don't want that.
Well, who knows?
We'd have to ask her.
Yeah.
My question is for the WBC is I'm late to the game as I don't know if I hate it or dislike it, Maggie.
Yeah.
But I think my biggest struggle is it's on FS1. And I know where FS1 is, 219 on DirecTV. But why isn't it on, like, the major network? Is this what baseball is doing, is sticking it on FS1, not to interrupt the programming?
Well, you can't interrupt the farmer finds a wife.
Yeah,
which is
come on, Sully. Farmer needs a wife. That's clear the schedule for Farmer needs a wife.
I mean, it's a lot of hours to eat up on Big Fox. Because I don't think they would make enough money on it. I get it. I understand it. But, Sully, you'll love it. There's a guy on the American team. I don't know if you know him. I think he used to play in Boston. His name is Mookie Betts, and he's awesome.
Don't do that.
You know, Sully, you could probably watch him because you don't get to watch him as much now that he's on a Red Sox.
Well, I think you know this, McLovin. I quit on the Red Sox as soon as they traded Mookie Betts. I don't understand how you get somebody, you groom him, he moves from second base because Dustin Pedroia was there. He goes to the outfield, shows everybody what he can do. 5-tool player, everything you want in an organization for a player, and then you trade him.
Like, yeah, I know.
And it's not like Boston can't afford it, Sully. I mean, that little upstart Red Sox owned by, the richest people in the world.
I don't know what they're doing. Thanks for, all of a sudden now I'm all worked up about it.
Yeah.
Because here's my struggle tonight. We got the Boston Bruins and the WBC starting and playing at the same time tonight, and I don't know which one to watch.
Well, I just took a look at the Big Fox lineup for tonight.
Yeah, what do they got?
If you were wondering what the WBC is getting bumped for, 7 o'clock Eastern time, 911 Lone Star. On her way back to Austin, Marjan is in the fight of her life when she's targeted by a killer, followed by Accused. A high school teacher puts his reputation in jeopardy when he helps a student in need.
Yeah, you know those draw monster ratings. I'm sure. The Rob Lowe Lone Star 911.
Oh, Rob Lowe's in that?
Yeah.
Rob Lowe's the one?
Of course he is. He's in everything.
I think it's hard to challenge the regular program. Like Blue Bloods on CBS probably beats the tournament, or I don't know if that show is still on. By the way, Sully, I had the perfect line to Matt Damon. I didn't get to say it last night, but can I use it on you because it's equally annoying to a Boston fan?
If I said no, would you not use it?
No, definitely. I was going to go up to Matt Damon and say, hey, Matt, I understand you're a big Patriots fan. I'm an Eagles fan. Do you remember what happened in Minnesota in January 2018? How about them apples, Matt?
You didn't get the opportunity to do that?
No, and I never would have had the guts. Maggie tried to talk to Ben Affleck.
I did. I tried to confirm something that he said in the Q&A, which we'll get to in just a minute. But they had some major security around them, Sully. But we had a really good time. We thought of you. You would have been great at this party. You really would have. You would have worked the room like a champ.
Well, I missed you guys, and hopefully, we still have. What do we got? The F1 in November, and then the Super Bowl in the beginning of next year.
Oh yeah. Well, we haven't actually gotten our invites to F1. The way that is shaping up right now, you better have a bunch of rooms for me and Maggie.
Yeah, can I sleep on your couch?
That has become a phenom. I mean, are people talking about that all the time in Las Vegas? That F1 race, particularly this one, is blown up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, a lot of people are talking about it, and the casinos are jacking up the hotel rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to get it is to get the hospitality area. So this is where, McLovin, this is where you and I, once again, Batman, Robin, have that great tag team action, the Intercontinental Champion, the Bushwhackers. I got the place to stay. You got the hookups for all these events. I think we really need to turn it up now.
Yeah.
So we're not scrambling in November.
I love it. Sully's all thought this out.
Sully, I think you're overestimating at least my abilities. I know, yeah.
Am I Harley Quinn in this scenario? Batman and Robin, and who am I?
Maggie, you can get in everywhere. McLovin, I was firsthand witness at your amazing skills for the Phoenix, what do they call it, Waste Management Open.
Yeah.
I know, you got to use the nice porta potties.
Yeah, I keep telling Maggie about the nice porta potties at the Waste Management.
That's the only thing he talks about. I didn't even hear one thing about golf.
We saw a guy get knocked out at 2:30 in the afternoon.
Oh,
I know.
That was
a.
I'll never forget that.
That was a dark turn.
All right, Sully, we'll start working on it, buddy. I love it.
Sully, thank you, pal.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Talk to you guys soon.
Talk to you soon, pal. Could have used Sully last night.
That's a good point. Are we going to make an F1 road trip in November?
I mean, I tried to get into it with the Drive to Survive, and it doesn't.
This particular race in Las Vegas is getting so much attention because the sport has caught fire.
Yeah.
Vegas is going to become the sports capital of the world. You and I are high rollers. We're wearing these ridiculous sunglasses
with
right
these
now.
glasses, we might be able to get in.
I think there's a version of Maggie and Perloff that fits Las Vegas. Kind of an old school
You know what
Vegas.
we should do? We should put on accents. I know you've been dying to do this your whole life. I think we look like we could be...
Oh, you're thinking of Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson in the Starsky and Hutch movie.
I know. I think we could do, like, pretend we're from, like, Sweden or something, and we're, like, house DJs. With these glasses, we might be able to pull it off.
I thought you were talking about, there's a scene in that movie, Starsky and Hutch, where Ben Stiller puts on glasses like this, and that's when he does the... what is it? He has a line that he keeps repeating. Forget about it. Something like that.
Do it.
Do it. He's wearing glasses like this. So do it line. Do it. So no. We're not to be Swedish. We're going to become this old school Vegas couple that kind of like, made most of our money playing blackjack or something.
We got to work on our backstory.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you got the karaoke voice.
Yeah, clearly.
The backstory is everything.
We got to have a backstory, and we've got to really sell it. I think we look like has-been Swedish DJs.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Like we had a really hit song in like 1997.
Yeah.
And we're still torn off of it.
Get Perloff a tracksuit and a beanie.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Pat, when are we playing the karaoke?
Oh, whenever.
Yeah, get that queued up because America needs to hear Maggie Gray on the mic. I mean, on the singing on the mic.
We might just bump back from the next break with it.
Oh, gosh.
Yes.
Well, Ackerman, feel free to take as long as you want with this CBS Sports Update.
I can only go so long. The music cuts me off.
Well, we don't want to hear what's next. All right. Well, you're listening to us on CBS Sports Radio across the country, our amazing affiliates, which I hope do not drop us after what they hear. And we're on YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Coming up, time to panic for one team. We'll get that to you in just a moment. Here's Rich.
Sports Flash.
Future so bright, gotta wear shades. Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career path with flexibility and great pay benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. Bundle today at progressive.com. Willis Reed, forever associated with playing through a torn right thigh to lead the Knicks to victory in Game 7 of the 1970 NBA Finals, has passed away at the age of 80. Reed suffered the injury in Game 5 and sat out Game 6. Will Chamberlain had 45 points and 27 rebounds in his absence. The Knicks captain took a shot that enabled him to take the court for the deciding game. And when the Lakers saw Reed limping out of the tunnel, many will say the game was over at that moment. The nomadic Rick Pitino on the move again. He is now at St. John's after 3 years at Iona. The Red Storm haven't made the tournament in 4 years, and Pitino coming to win, not make friends.
It takes a certain type of basketball player to want to play for me. He's got to be a total over-the-top in love with the game of basketball. And if you're not, it's just a bad fit with me. It doesn't work.
Tobin Anderson leaves FDU to replace Pitino at Iona days after the big upset of Purdue in the NCAA tournament. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Hey, it's DA. Be sure to listen to CBS Sports Radio at home. Ask Alexa to play CBS Sports Radio.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Stop.
The earnestness with which you sang was unbelievable. You were feeling it.
I mean, who puts a karaoke machine in a radio station?
You really can't tell the difference.
Yeah, right.
This is actually you.
Yes, this is me. This is Cindy. Thank goodness for Paula and Noah, who handled a lot of the heavy lifting, who I just met, by the way. I have no idea who those women were. They were in there singing karaoke.
Well, the funny thing is, you walked into the room and you're standing around, you're like, do you guys want to sing Time After Time? And they're like, yes. Yes, we do.
2 women in their early 30s was like, this is like shooting fish in a barrel. I got these girls.
The funny thing was, too, you were, I thought, a little disappointed that I didn't sing. And this is why I didn't sing. I have the worst singing voice of anybody.
Yeah. Everyone wants to know in the chat how many drinks did I have before that. I'm sober as a judge right now. I can't drink before I go on the air. That's not right.
I don't know. Maybe you want to pretend that you were hammered or something. Because
Should I lie to everybody? I'm blackout drunk right now.
Can you give us one or two lyrics now?
Yeah, the glasses on too. If you're watching us, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Perloff and I have these sweet shades. We got a movie premiere last night.
The visual too. When you hit the "I will be waiting," you made a fist and you were really feeling it. I felt like you were channeling inner Maggie, something back to your junior year of high school. It was awesome.
Yeah, junior year of college probably. That I really started hitting it. But if you want,
I will be waiting.
if you want to watch it, I did put it up on my Twitter at Maggie Gray. I'm losing followers by the dozens. They're abandoning ship like it's going down.
I was sitting in our office pre-show, and Maggie comes in and goes, "There's karaoke. Do you want to sing?" I'm like, "No."
Like we got 20 minutes before the show starts. Let's go.
You're like, no. What? You were so surprised that I gave a hard pass on that one.
I was. I thought you're kind of down for anything,
Yeah, I do like to.
You dressed up as the Mandalorian for your daughter's birthday.
I like doing embarrassing things. I don't mind it at all, but singing is one of those lines I will not cross.
RPC's in the chat says Maggie should go on tour. With who?
Yeah, those two random people that you were with.
We could tour, maybe Rikers Island? I don't even think they would have us.
What would you do for karaoke?
Something with a deep voice. I have a friend who does In the Ghetto by Elvis Presley. That's a really easy one to do, but I can't even really do that one. Or Ring of Fire.
The cop-out is always doing Bob Dylan.
Oh, he
doesn't really
voice.
Sing. It's like singing, but not. It's different.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a huge calling for Lou Reed songs on karaoke. That's sort of my style of music. Yeah. Pat, who do you do?
Probably Backstreet Boys.
Oh. Yeah. No way.
I did Backstreet's Back, whatever the actual name of that song is.
Sure, we all get it.
At a karaoke bar like last year.
There you go. I know someone who does competitive karaoke.
Really?
Yeah, so these are like aspiring Broadway people and like theater types, and there's a karaoke league, and it's competitive, and the people are amazing singers. Like you and I and Pat, like we couldn't get near, unless you're a really good singer, Pat. I
am not.
But like we can't get near a mic. These people are so good.
I'm not into that kind of karaoke at all. I like to see bad karaoke. It's much more entertaining. And that's why I think that was a treat for the audience, because most people would not let that out over the air.
Yeah, thank you. And most people have major regrets that did go out over the air. Craig's in the chat says you should do the Doors' People Are Strange for Perloff.
People are strange when you're a stranger. No, I don't. I can't sing. Well, and also, too, that's really old school.
Well, the funny thing, actually, why I want to bring up the Doors just for a moment, and it goes back to the movie that we saw last night, is that I hope this isn't a spoiler for anybody, but I think I can reveal this detail, right?
Definitely.
So the story of Air is obviously about the Nike landing Michael Jordan as their spokesperson and Nike basketball taking off after that and becoming what they are today. And they made a choice in the movie where you do not see Michael Jordan's face. So as like the pitch is happening and, they're talking about Jordan with his mother and his father, those are actors who you see and they have speaking lines, but the Michael Jordan character doesn't have any lines, and there's they'd never show like a young Michael Jordan from 1984. And Ben Affleck was asked about it after in the Q&A session that we got to go to. And he said that was a conscious choice because Michael Jordan is so famous, and his face is so famous, his mannerisms are so famous, we know him so well, that they didn't want to have an actor do it. And obviously Michael Jordan himself is too old to play young Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting. And the reason why I think about the Doors is like when I think of Jim Morrison, I think of Val Kilmer playing Jim Morrison in the movie The Doors. And we've had tons of people who've played very famous people. Like, you just saw what's-his-face was winning awards for playing Elvis, like, this last award season.
Sport, there is a tricky thing to sports, though, because you have to be, a lot of guys, you have to be physically match the athlete. So to play Michael Jordan, you really can't have a 5'11" guy. So you're automatically limiting your pool.
Well, the only Michael Jordan clips that we see really is like his shot from the college championship when he was at North Carolina.
Right.
So, like, there's not basketball scenes in this movie.
Well, no, remember they play some Bulls highlights.
And they play some Bulls highlights at the end. Yeah.
But the point is, I understand what they're saying. You can get out of the moment if the athlete doesn't, if the actor does not look athletic enough.
Yeah.
Say it's a movie where the athlete has to swing a bat. Did you ever see 61 about Roger Maris? Thomas Jane played Mickey Mantle, and it was close. I could buy it. It was pretty good. But if you have a non-athlete playing an athlete, that'll ruin a movie.
Well, that's why I think Winning Time, the Lakers dynasty, that's only famous people they're portraying. I mean, hell, guys playing Magic Johnson, like somebody who we are so intimately familiar with, their face, their mannerisms, all that. And I thought he did a great job.
Those guys are amazing. But that was a huge risk by that show to cast Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm looking at some other people who've played stars that have, some of them have worked, some have not. Do you remember Emma Stone played Billie Jean King?
Yes.
That I had a little trouble buying. But one that I think did work was Will Smith as Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, he was excellent in that.
He was amazing. So you can do it. But Will Smith had to put on about 50 pounds of muscle.
So it was an interesting choice by Affleck to not show Michael Jordan, but just as a spoiler, you never see like young Jordan's face.
That was good. I think it was the right
It was
move.
Effective, I thought. I think it got to because it also the myth of Jordan, and this is what they're trying to build up as they try to sell Phil Knight on why they should sign Michael Jordan and put all their money and resources towards it. The mythology of it, like you never actually even see the guy.
Say they did a LeBron James movie.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really hard to cast an actor to play LeBron James.
You're right.
It just would not work for the viewer.
What part of LeBron's story do you think would be the best? It's got to be high school, right?
Oh, high school into the pros. And I think it will be a movie.
It should be a movie. I actually want to see like the young LeBron story, like when he, famously, like at one point they were homeless, like he was living on different people's couches and stuff, like that part of the rise and the St. Vincent St. Mary stuff.
You will see it because
I hope so. Whoever does it, I hope they do a good job.
LeBron isn't he already producing his own documentary? I mean, listen, it's
just like Jordan did.
2023. Every great athlete's going to have 4 documentaries on them now, and Netflix will do behind the scenes. There's nothing that won't be overturned, especially LeBron's story. But I do not want to see an actor try to play LeBron. It feels impossible.
Maybe AI, artificial intelligence. You have someone like create an avatar. No, not Allen Iverson.
That'd be another great. That's a movie I would like to watch.
Movie. I mean, there was a 30 for 30 on it, but not like a.
Was there a 30 for 30 on Iverson?
Definitely.
I don't remember that one, but
it's really good.
Yeah, I would love to see. His story is amazing. All these guys, all these great athletes have amazing stories, but they're very hard to play.
It's
I'm
such
glad
an
they did it
interesting
this way.
slice of Jordan's story.
Yes.
This part of it, like the shoe, the marketing of it, chasing him down, convincing his parents, all that stuff.
You know what would have been, if you were going to do another story on Jordan, I think you would have had to do his father's death into baseball, into coming back. Now, that's a classic story as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we... and there's certain details out about it, but there's also certain...
there's mysteries behind it.
Mysteries behind just, about David Stern.
Yeah.
Was that really a suspension? All that stuff.
You could do the flu game and the supposed pizza that was food poisoned by Utah.
I don't want to see that. No, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't need the details on that one.
Yeah. What would so LeBron in high school, or you could do LeBron coming back to Cleveland beating Golden State down 3-1.
Oh, that's also good. But you'd have to be heavy on the basketball scenes there.
Yes, that would be hard.
Anyway, 855-212-4CBS. Run down the list of celebrities that we saw last night, rubbing elbows a little bit. Maggie Perloff, CBS Sports Radio coming up. Who had the NFL's best offseason so far? Perloff and I debate that next. Don't move. We're hanging with you. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
If you go into a normal porta potty, you have about a 1 in 3 chance of it getting turned over and ending up on Instagram.
Everyone's never said that.
That's my nightmare.
All of a sudden, it's like, how did Samter get the bubonic plague? Like, I don't know. It hasn't been around since the Middle Ages.
We could have a debate about what's worse, but there's nothing worse. The thought of being in a porta potty that turns over.
No, my worst fear is dropping the phone.
That's gone.
Sacrifice it. Let it go. It's gone.
No, that is long gone.
And I have the kind of thing where I have my credit cards and stuff like on the back of the phone, and my whole life would be gone. I'm not going in.
What if it was a wedding ring?
Ugh. No, you got to go in for the ring.
No.
I have to.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
What up? Welcome to the show. Maggie and Perloff across the country on CBS Sports Radio. I'm Maggie Gray. That's Andrew Perloff. We are also streaming live, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. We've been rocking these pretty sick sunglasses that we got last night. We were at the Air premiere, the new movie starring Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, about Nike landing Michael Jordan. So we're getting into character today, but there's still a lot going on, Perloff, outside of the celebrity world that we were in last night. We'll update you on all the celebrities we saw last night at the party, but the NFL world continues to move on. Yeah. Now, what the big news today, if you can even call it that, is that Lamar Jackson, somebody working on his behalf or claiming to work on his behalf, a financial advisor, has been calling teams who might be interested, saying that Lamar is ready to move on. That's the quote. Ready to move on from Baltimore. So I don't know what that does. I don't know if it does anything, but it does signal at least that Lamar wants to get the things moving here. And I can understand why, if you're a team who's got to give up 2 first-round picks, if you actually sign Lamar Jackson, you want to wait till after the draft. Like, there's no bidding war. There doesn't seem to be any urgency, so might as well just wait this thing out and send the Ravens 2024 draft.
Well, right, but there's one complicated factor.
What's that?
Need to present the Ravens with an option that works for them. Unless your number is not that outrageous. Say you're the Colts and you offer 5 years, $210 million.
Okay.
It's about $42 million per year. The Ravens are just going to match that unless they get something good in return. They need something good in return to not match it. So it's a tough spot.
I know, but is there any part of you that thinks that the Ravens are ready to say goodbye?
Oh, yeah,
right.
100%.
Right. So maybe like the idea that they're definitely going to match, like maybe that's something you say when you're posturing. Like there could be a world where no matter who offers Lamar Jackson, you're getting Lamar Jackson because maybe the Ravens have decided we're starting over at quarterback. I don't know.
But not if you're not giving them good picks. It's 2 picks.
Right.
So say the Colts sign him, you got to think that Lamar Jackson's going to be at least 9 and 8 at the very least. That'll be the number 20 pick in the draft. You're not giving up Lamar Jackson for 2 late first-round picks.
Maybe you can keep negotiating a little bit.
Yeah, I think there could also be a trade.
Yeah.
A traditional trade.
So 2 first-rounders and more.
Yeah, but they got to be good first-rounders. I think the Colts could do it tomorrow. They could say, hey, we'll give you the number 4 pick. At least the Ravens get a quarterback. Otherwise, the Ravens have no quarterback, so there's no incentive for them all to not match.
The thing about the Colts is, like, you've gone this far with the revolving door of quarterbacks where you've had 5 different guys starting 5 different seasons. Why not just draft somebody and end this thing, hopefully, right? I mean, I understand you could also just trade for Lamar and end it, but you've got the 4th overall pick. I don't think you even have to trade up to 3. It just depends if you actually like any of these guys.
Okay. I mean, don't you think the Jets said the same thing last year with Zach Wilson? I think the Niners said the same thing with Trey Lance. Yeah. Are these quarterbacks that good? That's a factor, too. It's not like you're sure the number 4. Say it was Will Levis. Do you think that ends the cycle? We just don't know. That's a big risk.
No, and like you put on the Will Levis tape and you want to look at 2 years ago, okay, then you could see something really good there. But last year's tape was really disappointing. Okay, so you just mentioned the Jets, which made me think about who's had the best offseason so far. We know we have a long way to go, but free agency, for all intents and purposes, is pretty much over. I mean, at this point, you're just doing the small little, except for Lamar, you're doing just small little things around the fringe.
There's still a million running backs out there, but they're going to be cheap.
Yeah.
So I have a number 1, and I think it's a little different than most people's number 1, but I don't know if I'm cheating here.
Okay, go ahead.
I think the Broncos, because they got Sean Payton, are number one.
You can include a coach in this one.
Okay, I know they had to give up a first-round pick for it.
Yeah.
But the Broncos roster was set up 2 years ago for Aaron Rodgers to come in and go to a Super Bowl. Rodgers decided to go back to Green Bay, and they settled with Russell Wilson. I don't think they scouted him well. It was not a match. The coach, Nathaniel Hackett, ran an offense that Russell Wilson just did not get, and vice versa. And
Hackett was not a good head coach.
No. But
he was way over his skis.
No, he might be a great offensive coordinator, but he's certainly not cut out to be a head coach. But there's still a lot of talent. Everybody got hurt there last year. Everybody. They lost. Anybody who could play any kind of football was gone by week 5, in my opinion. I mean, Garrett Bowles, you go down the list, Tim Patrick, the wide receiver.
Javonte Williams was a big
Javonte Williams. Tim Patrick's their best receiver, too. He would have made such a difference for Russell Wilson, but he was hurt preseason. So all these guys come back.
Sutton got hurt.
They have an influx of talent. They're trying to get rid of Jerry Jeudy, which is, in my opinion, not a great player. He's
apparently anybody is available out of that wide receiver room if you want to make a phone call.
Yeah, except because they're all totally undependable. But I think Sean Payton maximizes his talent. I mean, how many times has he had 5th-round wide receivers or 3rd-round running backs that just become superstars because he's such a good offensive coach? So I think he's going to fix that offense. And that defense, I know they lost their coordinator, but I think they brought in Vance Joseph, who's really good.
Yeah.
That defense was great last year. Even after they gave away Bradley Chubb to the Dolphins, they're really good. So I think this is all matching up.
So here's the question, though, about Denver. You're right, where the additions, they signed 2 offensive linemen, including Mike McGlinchey, the tackle. Signed a guy, Ben Powers, who's a guard. They got Samaje Perine, Michael Burton, the fullback, Jarrett Stidham as a backup, defensive tackle Zach Allen, Chris Manhertz, who's just a blocking tight end, not a pass-catching tight end, and Tremont Smith, who's a corner. They lost Draymond Jones, though, the defensive tackle, who's that interesting mix of a guy who's actually like a pass rusher as the defensive tackle spot. Like, those guys are just amazing. So they lose him to go to Seattle.
I followed this, but you watched a lot of football last year. Did you hear Draymond Jones' name a lot?
Well, we weren't watching a lot of Denver after week 4.
And if you did, you were kind of watching the Russell Wilson train wreck.
Yeah, much to Al Michaels' chagrin.
I think Draymond, he was a 3rd-round pick. Listen, okay. And also, all these moves are great, but regardless, I understand you're going through the moves, but their offseason is so defined by Sean Payton maximizing what they had there already.
Yeah.
And I think they were really lucky to get Sean Payton.
So here's another question. I do think they're lucky to get Payton, but here's another question. You make all those moves, right? Broncos definitely spending a lot of money this year. You got to go all in, right? You got Russ. He's not going anywhere. You've done a lot to make the team better. Are you winning the division?
You have a much better chance out. By the way, they didn't spend any money. What guys?
No, these guys were like McGlinchey. These are like some big.
Yeah,
that was big money.
Okay, but they didn't really spend a ton of money. Yes, I think it doesn't matter because Sean Payton, they have I'd say 40% better chance of winning the division than they did.
So I would think that they don't. That as long as Patrick Mahomes is in your division, I think you're not winning the division.
Yeah, but are you so convinced that Mahomes is going to stay healthy again?
Well, I don't know, but I don't know if anyone's going to stay healthy. I'm just going on the assumption that everyone is healthy. I think you really are making this massive investment, and I believe it's to be playing for 2nd place in the division. So basically now you're going for the wild card, and the wild card in the AFC is going to be incredibly competitive. So I don't know if the Broncos, despite all these moves and Sean Payton and all that, are they still on the outside looking into the playoffs this year?
Maybe, but I kind of disagree. I don't think they spent that much. I'd like to see who spent the most money. Yeah, they got those 2 linemen in there, but I don't know, one's a guard. And I don't think they were like one of the all-in teams. Also, they lost a lot of guys over the last couple of years. They haven't really, they mortgaged their future for Russell Wilson already, so there's no reason.
Okay, so just quickly from Spotrac, the Broncos' total spending, they've outspent their rivals by 33% in 2023. This is an article from 3 days ago. They spent $235.1 million, which is the most in the NFL by a wide margin.
For their roster.
Yeah, in this offseason.
Get out of here. Really?
That's what I'm seeing here from SI.
On who?
I have to read the article, but that's what the quick one, this is what it came up.
So, but was it?
They calculated the Broncos' total spending in 2023 at $235.1 million, which is the most in the NFL by a wide margin. 2nd place is New Orleans Saints, who spent $177 million. That's what I'm seeing.
Okay. Regardless, they're at the cap. I mean, listen, they gave up the first round pick for Peyton was smart.
Yeah. I think you're right about that.
And I think the only big ticket item that's going to hurt them cap wise is McGlinchey, right? I don't see anyone else on there who.
Oh, Zach Allen, I think got paid a lot, the defensive tackle.
Okay.
Yeah.
But regardless, like they're all in a sense, but they have to be all in because what are they going to do? They gave up all their first round picks for Russell Wilson. They have no draft, so what options do they have? There was no other. What other possible?
No, you have to spend. You have to spend. I just don't know if it's enough to get you over the top to possibly win the division. And it's going to be tough it's going to be tough to get a wild card in the AFC. For me, in terms of the team that has won the offseason so far, and it's funny to say this because the ink's not dry and they're still negotiating, but isn't it obviously the Jets? If they land Aaron Rodgers, there's no team whose Super Bowl odds would change and flux that much with the addition of one player more than Aaron Rodgers to the Jets.
Right. But if you look at it long term, is it really going to be? Depends what they have to give up. Is that going to be a win ultimately? Because when they got Brett Favre, you would have said that the Jets won that offseason.
Yeah, and if Brett Favre didn't get hurt, they definitely go to the playoffs. They were 8-3 when he got hurt.
Maybe.
I mean, but here's the thing.
He played all season.
I'm not looking at long term. I'm looking at
but I think
just for this year.
No, but I don't think that's how win the offseason. If they give up the number 13 pick and Aaron Rodgers has one half-hearted season and leaves
then they will have sucked. No, that it will not have been worth it.
Well, say they go 10-7 with Aaron Rodgers and then he walks. Then it won't. Then have they won the offseason?
Well, I'm just doing it right to this point right now. I think that you would have to say that if Rodgers plays, then they've won the offseason. Listen, if they end up sucking with Rodgers, then it looks like a big mistake.
What if they're okay, but they give up a ton of resources, ton of money, screw themselves for the cap forever? I think you have to look at a big
It's only
picture.
2 years.
I mean, they're getting a 40-year-old quarterback for $60 million.
So you think it's not going to work?
I'm not saying it's not going to work, but I don't think I've read a lot of winners and losers of the offseason column.
Yeah.
I think everyone's not putting the Jets. For that reason, it's a high risk. If they give them the 13 pick for Rodgers, I don't know. It just feels like, yes, you're mortgaging. That's all in. That's all in for this 1 year. I think it really could hurt them long run. I think it's a big risk.
Do you think they're getting 13? Do you think the Packers are getting the 13th pick? I don't think they are.
I think that's what they're holding out for, right?
You would think that kind of large detail would have been something that would have been agreed upon before your whole team flies to California to meet with Aaron Rodgers and recruit him to come. You'd think that those kind of things would have been hammered out.
I just have a sense that I think in 5 years we're going to look back at that Aaron Rodgers deal with the trade to the Jets and say, oh, man, we were all excited about that, but it didn't quite work out. I feel like that's the most likely scenario.
What's working out? Right? Like, I think to the Jets fan, it's working out is going to the playoffs, maybe winning a game in the playoffs. I think to everyone else, it's Super Bowl or bust. But if your team hasn't been to the playoffs in 13 years, you just want to make the playoffs.
Yeah, there's all sorts of ways it could go. I just think it's going to be similar to the last time Favre was there. Oh, I'm sorry, the last time Favre is not the same person as Rodgers.
Yeah.
As when, listen, last year's big offseason winners were Russell Wilson goes to Denver. Everybody had them number one. Didn't work out. That kind of move, there's a lot of risk, and I don't think it's a guarantee. I mean, I think if you're going to go obvious, I think it's the Chicago Bears have really had the big winner of an offseason. But I guess time will tell. But to get down to be able to trade in this year's draft from 1 to 9 and get all those assets, so it's a pretty weak top 10. I think that was a huge move. The Jets,
DJ Moore, TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds. There was more. Dante Foreman, Tunyon, DeMarcus Walker. They signed a guard, Nate Davis, Andrew Billings, the defensive tackle.
Right.
They lost David Montgomery. I wonder if that's going to matter.
Running back?
Yeah.
I mean, has anyone even picked up David Montgomery?
Yeah, he signed with the Lions, right?
For how much?
I don't remember. $5 million, something like that.
Yeah, but regardless, I think that that is a move. Trading from 1 to 9 and getting all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's a winner move. Anybody could add Aaron Rodgers, and only 1 or 2 teams wanted him, right? And only 1 or 2 teams want to pay that $60 million.
Crazy.
Why do you think that is?
Well, because he's a handful. And he gets paid a lot, and he's old. Yet somehow the Jets Super Bowl odds skyrocketed.
Yeah, of course. But
because they also have a good defense.
But they have the same exact problem that you mentioned with the Broncos. They're pinned in a really tough division, they have a really hard schedule. And I don't know. I just have this sense that we're going to look back and say, wow, we were really excited about Aaron Rodgers, and it wasn't quite Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. That's the thing. I think there is a Super Bowl or bust thing here. That I think we're having different expectations.
Why would you trade for him if it's not to go Super Bowl? That's a lot.
You know the Jets. Do you really think we're going to look back at this and say, wow, the Jets won this? It feels unlikely.
Okay, so despite the fact this has not worked out for the team that I root for, which is the Bills, but I get this feeling with sports, there's like every dog has its day. Like, yeah. I do find that there's a cyclical thing about sports, or, where you just never know, and you're never a winner until you win, which sounds like the most cliched, stupid thing. But that's true. You're never considered a winner, and then you win. What happened to the Chicago Cubs? They were always losers. The Boston Red Sox, losers. And now nobody would call those franchises losers. Your Philadelphia Eagles never won a Super Bowl. Then they win. Now they're in it. And then they go to another Super Bowl. It's like you change your narrative overnight.
Yeah, it's funny. I'd be really surprised if that was the Jets.
They haven't shown you much over the last, 50
And I love
years.
Joe Douglas. I'm rooting for him more than anybody, the GM of the Jets. I don't know. It just feels like the level of risk here, it's going to be hard to make this all work. I hope it does.
Okay, coming up, we forgot the one celebrity that we should have mentioned first.
Before Lou Diamond Phillips?
Yes. The celebrity we should have mentioned first, and we're going to feel like idiots when we don't mention it. I'll tell you coming up next. This person should have been mentioned first.
NBC Sports' Dan Hicks? Is that what we're talking about?
Dan Hicks was a delight.
Lovely man.
Lovely guy. Hannah Storm. They were just their daughter. We had a very nice time chatting with them.
I have no idea which celebrity you're pointing out here.
We should have went to them first. Bad job by us. We're both going to feel like idiots when I tell you about this. You guys already played me singing karaoke today, so I can't feel like more of an idiot. I'm already at rock bottom, but this is going to be even worse.
Oh.
You know who I'm talking about.
Now I know.
Yeah. Dumb, right? We should have led with them.
I guess so.
I think so. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, Maggie and Perloff, more details. Also coming up next, we will update the bracket of the worst stuff. We're on to round 2. We'll reveal 2 regions coming up next. Plenty of upsets, too. You want to stick around. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff right after this.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Here on Maggie and Perloff. The Defensive Player of the Week is sponsored by Navy Federal Credit Union, who proudly serves the armed forces, DoD veterans, and their families. Their members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. This has been so hard, Maggie, doing the Defensive Player of the Week, which, of course, is selected by our own Stu Kovacs.
Yep.
Post-football, it's been a challenge. Now, especially this last 2 weeks with the NCAA tournament, I mean, is there any... That's all anyone does in college basketball right now is play
play defense.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Izzo's team is a well-oiled defensive machine. Can Tom Izzo be the Defensive Player of the Week?
I was thinking, I'm like, is it Michigan State, somebody on Michigan State, or is it someone on Tennessee? I mean, they held Duke to like 57 points.
That was the officials get the Defensive Player of the Week for that one because they screwed over Duke bad, which is ironic.
I will give you guys a hint. It is from the March Madness tournament. It is not Tom Izzo.
Okay.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Pat. Is it someone on Tom Izzo's team?
No. It is a team that is in the Sweet 16, and they are playing on Thursday at the Garden.
Oh.
So the other team that's playing, because Izzo's going to the Garden, is it Tennessee? Or is it FAU?
Oh, excuse me. Never mind. They're playing in Vegas. No, that's not right either.
Where are they playing, Pat? Louisville.
It's got to be.
You might as well just tell us who it is.
Yeah, I might have screwed that up. I thought Kansas State was playing at the Garden, but I guess
they are playing at the Garden.
They are playing at the Garden, right?
Yeah, I thought you said it wasn't. I thought it wasn't from the Michigan State-Kansas State game. I thought it was so it meant the other team, the other game.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but wait.
Kansas State is playing at the Garden.
Okay, who's Kansas State?
Who's the player?
Yeah.
You want me to tell you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Naquan Tomlin. So he's their center, and he had 4 blocks and 2 steals against Kentucky to help Kansas State hold the other Wildcats to just 41% shooting from the field and 20% from deep.
You know, it's funny. I can see Stu just melting as we're just messing this up. Head in the hands.
That's so hard to tell, though. Yeah, Kentucky couldn't the side of a barn.
Yeah.
But is that the defense? Yeah. Pat, were you here when I was telling Maggie how I'm hating all this defense and bad shooting in the tournament so much? I feel like these guys... I'm sorry. I don't think the offense is up to stuff. I feel like I could help some of these teams. I feel like I could help some of these teams with my my dead-eye three-point shooting.
Well, of course. I mean, Dartmouth's own JV.
Yeah, I mean, Princeton advanced because they can shoot.
But here's the thing. But your thing was that has made this a bad tournament. And I don't think it's been a bad tournament just because the offenses have been a little bit behind the defense.
Well, there's a ton of some of the games, not all the games. It's totally inconsistent. They're calling every foul. And teams like Houston and Alabama, the only reason they're number one is because they just get after it on defense. They're not consistently great offensive teams. And I think that's part because the really, really good NBA players are gone.
Yeah, I think, you know, you can also love everything about the madness and the tournament and also love everything about the NBA and what makes it unique, which is unbelievable shot making and the offense. And yes, college basketball, they do play more defense. It is grittier, but yeah, there is some really bad shooting. I mean, you mentioned that with that Kentucky game. I think one of their best scorers, Antonio Reeves, was like 0 for 13 from the field.
I know.
And so many of those shots were wide open. They just kept leaving him open, just daring him to finally make a basket. He couldn't. So there's beauty in both. And I hate when people say, oh, NBA, they play no defense. Well, that's because the shot making is so good. And if you leave one guy open and give him an inch, you're going to get burned.
Yeah, and everyone on the floor generally is a threat to score. Like, it doesn't matter where you go in the NBA, you're going to find offense. Yeah. But the other part is, like, you don't criticize college football because they can't make, you know, the same kind of throws they do in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think college football, every game, it's like 51-48. Yeah, they're amazing. And now they can
watch an Iowa Northwestern game.
Yeah, that's
Iowa Northwestern. But remember that TCU Michigan game? I think the college football, to its credit, spread out the game and was starting to throw the ball all over the place. No, but I'm saying
just because it doesn't look like the NFL doesn't make college bad.
Yeah.
Just because this tournament doesn't look like the NBA doesn't make the basketball bad to me.
But college football got so great because all of a sudden the offenses are blowing away the defenses. Think of that USC-Utah game. I mean,
no, I know.
I think college football is exciting because the offense is so great. I think college basketball has had years. I like a little more of an offensive game. Yeah, I mean, this is very physical. Look at Houston. They just go out there and they're like, we're stronger than you. We can't play that much, but we're just going to wrestle you to the ground.
They got a number one seed, 855-212-4CBS. Let's head to Chicago. Rich is on the line. He's got a thought about the Colts and Lamar Jackson. Hi, Rich.
Hey. Again, I talk quarterbacks. Last time we talked about Fields. Here's something that I think is kind of overlooked as to what the Colts are doing. They got a new head coach, which is, is your buddy's Eagle guy.
Shane Steichen.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know what? He's a brand new guy. They ran off guys because they continue to recruit failed veterans. He's not going to be the first guy to continue that. And they got good old Jim Bob Cooter from Tennessee. So he's going to be in the market for a quarterback, and there's a bunch versus going with a failed veteran. And the other thing that I think is overlooked is Ballard has a connection with the Bears and the Chiefs, which is exactly who's running the teams when you got Poles from Kansas City. They probably figured out they stayed at number 4. The Bears traded in 9, as you guys have pointed out, because they don't need a quarterback. The Colts are not going to give up that kind of draft capital for Lamar Jackson. I would say 95%. They won't do it.
Well, Rich, I think that's one thing that's quite frankly working against Lamar. Like Baltimore tagged him, and thank you so much for the phone call and checking in. Good to hear from you. But they tagged him, and if you're an NFL team, you could say the injuries, you could say the tags, the draft picks you need, you could say the guaranteed contracts that he's going to want. There's so many tentacles to this for why Lamar does not have a market right now.
Absolutely, and I think that Rich is absolutely right. The 4 pick is very rich for Lamar. What if the Colts trade right now? Trade to a quarterback-needy team who sits between 15 and 20 and say to Baltimore, listen, we're going to send the 15 pick and next year's first for Lamar. That'll work better.
That's a little like dirty pool, though.
Yeah,
it's like
I know,
first you trade back and get some more picks, and then you're going to trade for Baltimore.
The funny thing is, who gets screwed in all this is the player. The franchise tag system really limits salaries.
Worst. Yeah.
But
it suppresses salaries. There's no other way to put it. But
yeah, but I always say though, it's all the same pie for players. If Lamar did sign this $300 million contract, that means a bunch of other guys are going to get cut. So the money is going to be spent. The question is, how do they spend it? And yeah, I think Dave was smart. I mean, Shane Steichen, he did have success with Jalen Hurts, but I'm not sure I disagree with it. I'm not sure Shane Steichen wants to start with one of these rookies unless he really loves these guys. It's not going to be a good team next year, is it?
No, but I mean, Steichen, and it makes sense what he did with Jalen Hurts. Yeah. Like, what could he do with Lamar Jackson? Like, that would be awesome.
I guess
Lamar's a better version of Hurts.
Well,
as a runner,
I mean, Hurts is probably a better passer. Hurts, I mean, just looks like a better passer. I mean, Hurts did come on. And if you want to compare Anthony Richardson and Will Levis to Hurts came on as a passer at the end of his college career, where those guys have not yet.
I know, but Hurts also was throwing to A.J. Brown, and he was throwing to Devontae Smith, and he had just like much better weapons than Lamar does.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think Jalen Hurts is probably a better thrower than Lamar.
I mean, yes. Now I guess.
I like the way Jalen Hurts throws the ball. He seems really effective at every level.
No, I mean, Jalen Hurts is just a great quarterback. He's going to get paid a ton. All right, we've got to update our bracket of the worst. All right, we're going to update 2 regions for you. We're into the second round. We're a little bit behind the main tournament. Woefully behind. We're going into the second round. So in the East region, low shower pressure advances easily over 16-seeded waiting at the gym for a treadmill, much to the chagrin of our boss, Spike Eskin. In the 8-9 game, 8th seed moves on. Holding call that wipes out an 80-yard touchdown advances over seeing a movie spoiler.
The worst. Really the worst.
5th-seeded people who stand on the walk side of escalators advances easily over 12th-seeded song stuck in your head.
The worst.
Here we've got an update for you. Perloff, 4th-seeded software updates falls to 13th-seeded someone asks you to like their social media post. That is a huge
That's the worst
upset.
idea I've ever heard in my lifetime.
Wow.
Yeah, software updates are terrible.
We just don't do them.
That was Sweet 16, I thought.
Do you ever get, you need to be plugged into the wall to have your software update?
It's terrible. Everything about it. Just had to do one before the show. Just murder. Okay, another upset here. 6th-seeded waiting for a reservation goes down to 11th-seeded waiting at the doctor's office.
The worst. Really the worst.
3rd-seeded trouble falling asleep takes out 14th-seeded pollen. Another upset, 7th-seeded, a person in front of you in the drive-thru has a huge order, is going home. Uncomfortable shoes moves on.
The worst.
And then 2nd-seeded Mondays easily advances over 15th-seeded when you have a sneeze and you can't.
Yeah. Mondays suck.
So
I think that's the worst thing I've ever heard.
To recap, the second round matchups, 1-seeded low shower pressure going up against 8th-seeded holding call that wipes out an 80-yard touchdown. 5th-seeded people who stand on the walking side of the escalator against 13th-seeded someone asks you to like a social media post. 11th-seeded waiting at the doctor's office takes on 3rd-seeded trouble falling asleep. And 10th-seeded uncomfortable shoes takes on 2nd-seeded Mondays. I believe that is in Las Vegas.
I think uncomfortable shoes is a dangerous underdog.
They are terrible. Ruins your night.
Yeah. You ever have new shoes that you can't quite break in? I have a pair of those right now, and I really want to wear them, but I don't want to have a blister.
It's terrible. Feel for you.
The worst.
I don't know how you even came in today. All right, 2nd-seeded, we have the South region. We'll update this one quickly. This is the biggest upset of the tournament so far. Just like in this year's tournament, FDU over Purdue, there was a 16 seed that upset a 1 seed in our tournament.
Really?
Yeah. 16-seeded video ads takes out number 1 seed. Someone calls you instead of text you.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, maybe people aren't as antisocial as us, and they don't care. They think a call is lovely.
I think that whole FaceTime thing really got us. I don't know. We don't FaceTime generally. Okay, moving on. 8th-seeded jamming your finger takes out 9th-seeded someone telling you their dreams. 5th-seeded stepping in dog poop takes out 12th-seeded porta potties in our all poop matchup. 4th-seeded being told to calm down They take out 13-seeded waking up right before your alarm goes off. Here's an upset for you. 11-seeded overcrowded public transportation has moved on over forgetting the birthday of someone close to you. 3rd-seeded forgetting your password advances past 14-seeded a friend asking you to attend their artistic performances. Another upset. 10-seeded the last day of vacation. So melancholy. Has advanced over broken escalators. And lastly, 2nd-seeded losing your luggage. A blowout win over 15-seeded tangled earphones. So, to match up, 16-seeded video ads, the Cinderella of this tournament, takes on 8th-seeded jamming your finger. 5th-seeded stepping in dog poop will take on 4th-seeded being told to calm down. 11-seeded overcrowded transit takes on number 3-seed, forgetting your password. And 10-seeded the last day of vacation up against the 2-seed losing your luggage.
Sorry, what's the 16 seed again?
Worst.
Video ads.
Video ads. That's the Fairleigh Dickinson.
That's the FDU.
Huh.
I know. The UMBC.
I get it. Maybe we misseeded them because video ads do stink.
Yeah, maybe the committee got that wrong.
The one that you don't have the option to skip. It just plays for 15 seconds. You have to sit there.
Oh,
The worst.
Awful.
The worst.
Or when you get the back-to-back ads.
Wow. Could we have the first ever 16 seed to make the Sweet 16 of the Maggie and Perloff the worst bracket?
I think it's setting up pretty nicely. You can go to @Maggie and Pearl on Twitter. That's where you can vote.
I'll tell you what. I saw that they are plus 10,000 to win it all. I got a couple shekels on.
There you go. That's smart. You got to jump on that right away before the sports books have a chance to catch up. All right, coming up, we've got a lot more to do, including Perloff had some interesting responses to your question about baseball, so we'll get to that in just a moment. The WBC final is tonight. Team USA takes on Japan. We're going to play that call for you, too, just for the hell of it, because it's so good. Right after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
Willis Reed, the captain of the Knicks, who was the MVP of both championship series they won, has died at the age of 80. His heroic effort to play the deciding game of the 1970 NBA Finals, despite a torn thigh, will forever be remembered. The Lakers were stunned when Reed limped onto the court and he proceeded to hit his first 2 jump shots. The Knicks never looked back. He was a 7-time All-Star in his 10-year career and named one of the NBA's 50 greatest players. St. John's hasn't won a tournament game in 23 years. They're hoping a Hall of Fame coach can revitalize a once-proud program. Rick Pitino introduced today after coming out of coaching exile 3 years ago and leading Iona to a pair of tourney appearances. He now tries to do the same at St. John's.
The first thing you have to do is you have to build a culture, not only a culture of great basketball, exciting basketball, but a culture of academic excellence, a culture of treating everybody with great respect, a work ethic second to none, giving every ounce of perspiration you have in you for the name on the front, St. John's.
Iona moved quickly to replace Pitino, naming Tobin Anderson the new coach of the Gales, fresh off FDU's upset of Purdue on Friday. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Coming up later on the Zach Gelb Show, tune in to see if Hot Take Hickey will take his shirt off like Eric Musselman. If he doesn't, we'll still have Isaiah Wong and Scott Drew stopping by. 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Get the full list of the celebrities we saw last night at the Air premiere in just a moment. Let's get to our Casamigos shot of the day.
He shoots!
Very apropos for this time of year with March Madness. The shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it, people like me. Well, today, not my proudest moment, not my finest moment. For some reason, they were doing karaoke in the office today, and I decided to partake, and I will regret it for the rest of my life. If you fall, I will catch you. I will be waiting. Oh, God. Make it stop. I mean, who puts a karaoke machine in a radio station?
You really can't tell the difference.
Yeah, right.
This is actually you.
Yeah.
The visual too, when you hit the "I will be waiting," you made a fist and you were really feeling it. I felt like you were channeling inner Maggie, something back to your junior year of high school. It was awesome.
Yeah, junior year of college probably. But I really started hitting it. Yeah, I'm going to need a Casamigos light margarita. I'll take 2, actually, after that performance. I should have had a few before I went up there, but...
That might have helped. No, you were good. Your voice, you have a pretty good singing voice.
That is not true.
It's not the worst I've ever heard. You should hear me sing. It's a disaster.
Who?
You should hear me sing.
Oh, yes.
It's awful.
Well, we're going to get you next time on International Men's Month. When we're celebrating that, it's International Women's Month, so we got a karaoke machine in the office.
You know, historically, that's
every month.
11 months of the year.
Yeah, I know. Thank you so much to our friends George Clooney and Randy Gerber, Mike Meldman. Lee Einsadler is our pal, and they are the reason we are part of the Casamigos family. So we absolutely love that. Okay, speaking of famous people. So the true rundown of last night, the premiere of Air, if you're watching on YouTube, wearing these sick glasses that we got, the Phil Knight glasses they were giving out. So, you know the party's going to be good when you walk in before the movie even starts, and the first person we see is Adam Schefter.
Yeah.
We're like, all right, this party's going to be pretty good, because this is a busy time of year for Schefter. For him to take time out of his schedule to go see this movie, we could confirm that he is carrying 2 phones on him. They were on, and there were texts coming in like crazy.
Yeah.
He was there with his wife.
I don't think anything broke last night, but he was still checking his phone.
Yep. I don't know why you need 2 phones, but...
So he said that he was so happy to not be working the phones and actually enjoy a movie. And it seemed like he was friendly with Keegan-Michael Key.
So Keegan-Michael Key of Key and Peele and friends from college and hosted the ESPYs and all of that stuff. He was the second person who we saw who came in. Schefter's wife, though, also not a sports fan. It's like, wow.
That was a trick.
Yeah. She's like, it all goes over, like, it's all white noise to me. I was like, that's got to be a lot of white noise.
So the one regret, I should have said something to Keegan-Michael Key, because he'd been on the Dan Patrick Show in person, I think twice.
Yeah.
Unbelievably nice guy. Unbelievably personable. And it was just, you know, when you see that celebrity there, you're not sure if you should go up to him and introduce yourself again. I mean, I'd met him. I wish we had talked to him.
Okay, so we didn't mention the person we probably should have mentioned first. Oh. The big celebrity who we saw there.
Yeah. In my mind, the biggest star there, DP was in the house.
Yeah, Dan Patrick was there. We should have led with that.
It was so funny. Dan was there with his lovely daughter, Georgia.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to talk to him because the funny thing was I was watching the movie and I was watching my clock. I know Dan. Dan does not like staying up late for anything.
Well, that movie started late.
So I told him he was in the middle of a row, so I went up to him beforehand. I'm like, oh, let's talk afterwards. And he's like, he gave me a thumbs up. But then I don't think he stayed for the Q&A.
No, I think he bolted out of there.
He bolted because he had to get back to Connecticut, but it was really fun to see him. We were laughing. We were texting back and forth before the movie. But it was cool to see him. He looked like he was having a good time. You know, the funny thing about Dan is he wants none of that small talk. He does not want to talk to the celebrities. He doesn't want to talk to...
Which is funny because they all want to talk to him.
They all want to talk to him.
Yeah.
He'd rather just talk to a buddy in the corner, and he's not a real big
schmoozer.
Hobnobber at all. Just doesn't enjoy it. And I think I understand because usually people are coming up to him.
Yeah, probably cornering him and
But he looked like he was having a lot of fun with his daughter, who you had a nice conversation with.
Yeah, we chatted. She's lovely.
She's the coolest. Yeah.
Okay, so obviously Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and Viola Davis were like the ultimate headliners.
Yeah.
And they were there and they were kind of schmoozing around with people. They had big security guards around them, though, like in the middle of this party, which was kind of interesting. So it's like they're there with like a big, huge security guard next to them. But
Makes sense.
They were, being very generous with their time. Tried to talk to Affleck because, but unfortunately I was like, just really in the way for him to go see someone he actually knew and gave them a big, deep embrace. And I knew that was my cue to exit. But Affleck said something at the premiere in the Q&A, which I took as, I don't know, maybe he knows something. I have no idea. But he was talking about his dinner with Michael Jordan before he started embarking down the road of making this movie, which is about Nike landing Michael Jordan in this massive shoe contract, and the rest is history. And he said that he got the blessing of Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan had ideas about who he wanted casted in the movie, including Viola Davis, who he wanted to play his mother. But there's a line in the movie where Viola Davis, as the mother of Jordan, says, "You think that the NBA, that my son needs the NBA to market him. but it's the other way around. Like, if this goes the way we all know it's going to go, it's not going to be the NBA that's selling my son. It's going to be my son that's selling the NBA.
Yeah, there's no way that actually happened. But anyway.
It's a good line, though.
It's a great line knowing what happened in the next 20 years. But in reality,
1984, I don't know if anyone knew that.
No,
but
right. Even Jordan's mom. But anyway, go ahead.
It's a hell of a shot to call. But Affleck then goes, and that's true because Michael Jordan is going to be the next logo. He's going to be the logo. Like, implying or just basically outright saying that Jordan is going to replace Jerry West as the silhouette of the NBA logo. And I thought that was kind of big news. Does he know something? Because Michael Jordan would know.
Well, it's funny. The way he said it is if everybody everybody knows that Michael Jordan's going to become the logo. So we Googled it, and not only was it not close to being reported, there's a story in 2015. Jerry West said he would love for Jordan to be the logo. I couldn't get any kind of idea that they're trying to change the logo. Now, I know that Jerry West and the NBA have never really gotten along over the logo. Did he sue them?
No, he's always never acknowledged that it was actually him, even though it's definitely him.
Yeah. I think that the SPC has some acrimony with the league. I don't even know. Anyway, the Jordan make great sense as a logo, but nobody's ever hinted at that before. So this can't be true.
I don't know. Affleck was saying it as if it was true. Okay, so you had the stars of the movie who were there, other people who were there who we got a chance to talk to. Bill Cowher, Super Bowl champion coach of formerly the Pittsburgh Steelers, now on CBS.
Looks great, by the way.
He did look great.
Not an ounce of body fat on Bill Cowher.
No.
Shredded.
I know. He did look nice. He was there with his lady friend. I don't know if they're married. Girlfriend? I don't know.
No idea.
She was lovely. You mentioned Lou Diamond Phillips was there.
LDP in the house.
We talked to Hannah Storm and Dan Hicks for quite a while. And then this one guy passed, and I was like, this is somebody famous. I just couldn't put my finger on it. Took me a moment, got there. Brooklyn Nets guard Patty Mills was there.
Yeah.
I talked with him, chatted with him for a little bit.
Yeah, he lives in my neighborhood, or used to live in my neighborhood.
Yes, which we were not, along with Matt Damon, which we were not going to tell Matt Damon.
Yes, Patty Mills is much more visible. Apparently, everyone in my neighborhood has a story about him being the friendliest guy ever at the coffee shop, which is cool. There probably were other celebrities there, too. We just didn't.
Those are the ones I wrote down.
Actors. The fact that you didn't even see Lou Diamond Phillips until we were getting in the car at the end. It was the first person I saw when I walked in.
I think there was also someone maybe who hosted America's Next Top Model, but I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't be 100% sure.
I think there were 10 other celebrities, and some people were saying, "Whoa, Maggie Gray and Andrew Perloff were there."
You know it.
Maybe one guy said that, but I think he was just being nice.
No, the guy who works at Barstool, big fan.
Yeah. I think he said big fan. Who knows?
All in all, though, great night, and the movie was good.
The movie was really good. I would recommend it if you're a fan of Michael Jordan, or if you're a fan of the shoe culture too, because I think that was sort of what they were talking about. It set up 1984 was a year. It set up what would become, this Nike persona and Jordan. By the way, did it change your mind at all in the Jordan versus LeBron debate? I know you were in the LeBron camp.
Well, this isn't going to do that. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, he did transform not just sports, but all of brand marketing. You're right.
Is that come into the debate?
I mean, Michael Jordan was a transformative figure.
Oh, of course he was. But I think that then Magic and Larry also get the transformative figure. And I think the Dream Team in general, I mean.
Michael Jordan was so famous, people knew the silhouette of his head.
No, I get it.
He was a big deal.
I know. I don't. But in terms of like who is the all-time great basketball player?
Well, yeah.
Number one?
Yeah. Obviously Jordan.
It's going to be for another day. Thank you so much to Pat Boyle. Did a great job today, Pat. We'll see about the glasses. Stu Kovacs is doing a hell of a job today. Thank you so much, Stu. Thank you to all the Weedos and the Purple Drinkers in the chat, the callers. You guys are awesome. We got a brand new show for you tomorrow. It's going to be dynamite. We'll see you then.